So we are looking at our fourth full game of Star Trek Reliant tonight, and all of our regular company has appeared. Those I'm real bad at introducing people, so just kind of go through from how you appear in the list of players in the game chat. We can start with Kendra, and who you'll be playing, and yeah.
I'm Elenis Kendra, playing Elenis Kendra. I am the ship's tactical officer. And chief of security.
Nord.
I am the person known as Garfield Nord. I am playing Chaplain Victor Waitley, ship counselor and attendant of the Universal, or what did we call it? It was the Universal Interfaith Chapel.
Faith Chapel, I thought you called it.
Full faith, yeah.
Now it's my turn. I am Dr. Eli O'Connor, the ship's doctor. And you don't get to know my real name. I'm Nick.
I'm Geraldine Blackwell, and I'll be playing Kara Juanrani, an Ibi xenobiologist who, for some reason, is in charge of piloting the ship. God help us all.
And I'm Duncan Idaho. I will be playing First Officer Marcus Graves, Junior Security Officer Lieutenant Tardigrade, who's still a cadet, but I think he's just adopted the name Lieutenant, as first name, just being very ambitious there. And I will also be playing the pirate Captain Castus Wicks.
Oh, I guess that's me then, because I guess we don't need to do the boss. I'm Casmodian, and I'm playing Quentin Reynolds, Chief Science Officer, and all-around xenoarchaeologist. I get to do science.
Hi, I'm Baz Sag, also known as Andrew. But I play Rick Tier, the ship's chief engineer from a reptiloid species. And we've got Peter here who comes, which maybe he wants to introduce himself or not, maybe.
Oh, I'll go ahead and introduce Theta. So Starfleet Theta will be typing in chat to be part of Oakley the Exocomp, who will variously be involved according to the DM. And also what a hijinks he gets up to.
Yes, the story where we left off. We are going to be picking up exactly where we left off. And a small away team that Marcus had taken to the planet had discovered evidence of essentially an ancient human civilization on a previously unexplored, considered uninhabited planet in the Delta Volanus cluster. The away team was able to gather a great deal of information and see how people with a technology level 300 to 400 years previous to where the Federation is now had managed to keep a board signal from leaving their planet. The away team is now fully back on board of the Reliant. However, in doing so, the Reliant had to drop their shields for just a moment. And in that moment, there was an alarm. There was a intruder alert, effectively a red alert sound that those of you on the ship know that the red alert was the intruder alert. The red alert status came from the cargo bay. and Kara is still at the con station piloting, and I think everyone else is just arriving back from the planet in the transporter room, and that's where we're going to pick up. I'm double checking. Yeah, everyone else was in the transporter room from the look of it. So we're picking up right from there, just as you're stepping back, as all of you are stepping back onto the ship, and you can feel that your ship is. All of you saw that your ship was, moving pretty fast through the atmosphere when they transported you back on board. And right away, as soon as the away team is on board, on the bridge, Kara, you see Cole make the call. The rest of you hear it. First thing you hear is Cole turns to Larissa and calls for a report. She's like, Larissa, report. And Kara, you hear Larissa say that 3 transporter signals occurred in a 20-second time, not even 20 seconds, but 3 transporter signals happened in the cargo bay. And you have not seen your commander have a frustrated expression or anything really yet, but you hear her say, damn it! She says, Kara, hold orbit, and she taps her comm badge and says, Cole, Cadet Alenis.
So, I guess, have we canceled the jump to warp then, and we're actually still around the planet?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I am doing as asked and moving into a holding position.
Because the other two ships, you can see that first the pirate ship warped away. And then, they're all pirates, but first the Ibi pirate ship warped away, and then the Orion fleet. She said, "It's been a pleasure doing business over the comm. You saw her face on the view screen." She said, "It's been a pleasure doing business with the USS Reliant," and then they all warped away. As soon as Cole hears there were 3 transporter signals while shields were down, that's when she says, damn it, Kara, hold position. And then she calls Cole to Cadet Alenis. And we pick up in the transporter room with that call coming down to you, Alenis, quite literally moments after you step off of the transporter pad.
Yes, Captain.
Says, and everyone in the transporter room, can hear this too. He says, Kendra, get a team down to the cargo bay right now. We had boarders, and I need to know what we lost and what's going on down there. Rest of you, let's get back to our stations.
Waitley will look to Graves. Won't say anything. He just kind of looks to Graves to see what he seems to indicate.
Good question. So Graves is just going to be reporting directly to the bridge at this point.
With no direction from his superior officer, he then looks to Kendra to see what she says.
So it seems Kendra's having a bit of technical problems with sound.
Oh. Well, I'm going to take the assumption that since she has a security officer right there in the transporter room, she's probably going to just take Rosso with her and nod to the rest of the away team, I would guess, and head toward the cargo bay. That's my best guess.
All right, yes. Distracted.
Babies do that.
So, yes, Rosso with me, and I'm gonna, I guess, do we create 2 NPCs to come with me, or?
You can just tap your comm badge and have a security team meet you right at the cargo bay.
Security team, meet me in the cargo bay.
Hey,
Doctor,
go ahead.
Eli speaks up and says, if there were boarders, there might be injured. Let me come with you. I'm not going to be any use in combat, but I'm coming with you.
Graves on consideration is going to be joining them.
Okay. So we have the Doctor, Elenis, Rosso, and Graves headed toward the cargo bay, and the rest of you headed up to the bridge, or in Rick Tier's case, headed to engineering.
So Rick is going to tap his comm badge. Rick to engineering.
Engineering, go, Chief.
I have an alien collection of data here. I need to set up an isolated computer environment so we can go over this data safely. I'm on my way from the transporter room now.
I think what is her name? Vathi? Is that her name? The Andorian engineer? Is that her name? All I have to do is look on the drive and find it, right? It is Vathi. I was right. Oh man, what a memory. Vathi answers and says, "We'll get started right away, Chief."
Rick here out. And he starts on his way to engineering.
And that puts Quentin on his way up to the bridge, and when 4 that are going to the cargo bay meet 2 security guards there, the cargo bay door is open. One of the other security guards, they both have their weapons holstered. There's obviously no and when you get a look in, there's obviously no orders currently. There's no intruders currently in the cargo bay. However, you guys had 5 crates that were holding in the neighborhood of between 25 and 30 Eppohs each. One of those crates is missing, and there's a large blanket that is laying on the deck where that particular crate or cage type thing of Eppohs would be. And Ensign Ricky is looking around the cargo bay, kind of doing the make sure that everything is secure. He, like I said, he doesn't have his sidearm drawn, but it does look like he's ready to draw it if he needs to. But he's doing the making sure that everywhere in the cargo bay that there's nobody like hiding. And Ensign Daniels is knelt down over a wrecked Exocomp laying on the floor. It looks like it was shot with a high-setting blaster, phaser, disruptor, some kind of weapon.
So Marcus is going to be checking the rest of the crates for Lieutenant Tardigrade.
Okay, Marcus, looking around, you do not see any indication of Lieutenant Tardigrade anywhere in the cargo bay. And when you come to that realization, Ricky actually looks back from, he's about 15 or 20 feet away. He looks over and he says, "Bay is clear, sir."
So Graves is a little bit at a loss here because he is concerned about Lieutenant Tardigrade not being there. He's kind of discounted the possibility that he was shot. So he taps the he taps his communicator and simply reports to Cole. Let's see. Yeah, he taps his comm badge and says, Captain, we're missing, or 4 of our crates of Eppohs are still here. 1 is missing, and we're also down 1 tardigrade.
The response is, you're walking onto the bridge, Quentin, so you hear you hear the end of that report, and Kara, you hear it all, and Cole says, noted. Make sure all of the senior staff is ready for a meeting in about 20 minutes. I have something I need to do, obviously. And she looks over at Kara and says, Kara, you have the bridge. I've got to go tell our guests that we just lost some of their cargo.
Aye, ma'am. When the captain gets up, Kara moves over and takes the captain's chair, sitting down. Slyly, she starts to transfer a few of the weapon controls over to the captain's couch, just in case.
I like that. And the captain leaves the bridge if she, who also, Marcus, you get a call from her after she's off of the bridge, and she says, hold the Graves. Marcus, double check. You know Tardigrade better than most people. Double check areas that he might be before we put a senior staff meeting together in 20 minutes.
20 minutes might not be time enough to search the entire Jeffries network, Captain. Although,
understood.
Captain, though, with one of the crates gone, I would not be too surprised if he left with the pirates.
If he left with the crates.
Or latched onto the leg of a pirate.
Man. And you actually hear her grumble just the littlest bit, Marcus. She says, command giving me tardigrades as officer. I'll see you in 20 minutes in the conference room, Graves. And she cuts the channel.
Aye, Captain. Graves also does something to his comm badge.
What does he do?
He twists something on the side of it. So
Okay.
He waits for a second, but after not receiving anything, relates to the rest of the crew that they've got a staff briefing in 20 minutes, finish up in the cargo bay, and double check for any signs of small little beasties.
Kendra to all security staff. Continue to do a thorough sweeping of the ship for any signs of the missing tardigrade ensign and any Eppohs that might be seen wandering about.
It speaks up. We have internal sensors, don't we? As he walks over to the Exocomp laying on the floor, inspecting it.
I would do. Any signs of disruptions during the transporter incidents?
Checking the transporter logs and the internal sensors. First, with the internal sensors, I'm going to say that both Quentin and the doctor get the information at about the same time. I'm guessing that, Quentin being able to hear what's going on would probably be using the ship's internal sensor array to see if he could pick anything up. And you can all tell that one of those computer, where is Lieutenant Tardigrade, or where is Cadet John Tardigrade, not on board the Reliant.
So Marcus then queries the sensor logs, or actually, since it's Quentin and Eli that have it. Does Marcus at this point know there's 3 transporter signatures?
As soon as you...
What was that?
Pardon me.
Okay, so Marcus is going to query Kara and Quentin, or Eli and Quentin, for more information from the ship's sensor logs. Specifically, where is, or any indication of a beam out by Lieutenant Tardigrade.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to, get stuck in my air passage. And the transporter logs show that the first transporter signal was Lieutenant Tardigrade. Was transported off of the ship.
And Marcus inquiries on which, or yeah, he's not going to know that there were multiple pirate ships, is he? But that information is going to be apparent.
It certainly is. There are 2 distinct kinds of transporters.
So he then cross-references that kind of transporter signature to determine which ship took Lieutenant Tardigrade.
Okay, Roll A is like actually a perfect time for a roll. Give me a reason command roll. Your target number is 15.
All right, I use my R program, so I got an 8 and a 7.
8 and a 7. Oh, nice. 2 successes. You can tell that there were first transporter signal is how would you describe what the Ibi transporter signal would be like? It's
for what this would be. It would be a generic, sort of a civilian make transporter signature, so it would not be characteristically Ibi.
Okay, so the first transporter signal is definitely has a civilian signature on it. The second transporter signals, the first one beamed 2 Orions onto your ship, and you can even see that based on the internal cameras of the cargo bay, appeared. Looks like the Exocomp was recording the area where Lieutenant Tardigrade disappeared, and one of them blasted the Exocomp and pulled the blanket essentially off of the top of one of the crates and slapped something on top of it, and then the crate and both Orions disappeared. Well, they transported out. So that's 3 signals. Something transported Lieutenant Tardigrade out. 2 Orions transported into the cargo bay, shot the Exocomp, and transported out with one of the crates.
Marcus taps his comm badge to Rick Tier.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Rick's just entering into engineering when he gets above the Rick here.
I've got a patient for you, a downed Exocomp.
Oakley, what's happened?
The Orion's blasted him pretty severely. He'll need a full reconstruction.
Okay, on my way. So he closes the signal and then starts giving orders about setting up an engineering lab, getting Exocomp schematics and all documentation set up there. And I'm sure you'd know, but if there was I don't know if we've set out an exocomp or a robotic specialist aboard the crew?
Quick look at your crew manifest shows that you have a couple of engineers who, while not specialists, did take a little bit more than the basic robotics training, the basic robotics and engineering training that everyone got in the academy. You have 2 engineers on board who are good with robots, essentially.
Okay, so I'll give orders for them to set up the lab, and Rick will head over, start running actually, um, making good pace towards the cargo bay.
Okay. When Rick here arrives, you can see exactly what has been described. Oakley is a mess on the floor. It looks like someone shot him with a disruptor. You don't know that it was a disruptor, mind you, but somebody shot him with an energy beam. And
Yeah. With the information we've got on hand, I mean, it's pretty clear that the Orions shot
Yeah.
Oakley.
So you do, I mean, it's easy to know it was a disruptor.
And Eli is there crouching over Oakley, inspecting him.
Okay, it is a mess of mechanical parts on the floor. The body of the exocomp is, for the most part, intact, with one glaring hole in the side, on the right side of the exocomp, where the disruptor blast probably actually connected with the metal and blasted him apart. So the right side of him, while the body is mostly intact, the right side of the exocomp has been blown open, lots of exposed circuits, and some things actually laying on the floor next to it. So,
All right, so I want to do a quick scan to make sure that I can identify and collect all the appropriate parts of Oakley, so I don't leave anything behind when we take him to the engineering lab.
okay, let's see, what is the appropriate? I'm starting to know what the appropriate roles are, so I'm happy. In this case, roll me in engineering. So your target number is 15, and
Okay.
you have a focus. I'm not going to tell you which one applies, but you have a focus. So your target number is 15, and you crit on 4 or less.
Okay, we don't have any momentum, do we?
Not yet.
No. Okay, so just a standard 2d20, 15 and 4.
15
So,
and 4. So that's
so
one success.
2 successes, because 15 is counts.
Oh, right on. You're right. 15 does count. So you get 2 successes and build 1 momentum for the group, because you only needed the 1. The focus that applied, just so you know, is experimental technology. And as you collect all of the pieces of Oakley, you do notice that, because you're making sure that you're like, okay, that's a piece, and you're using your tricorder to make sure that you're getting all of the right pieces. And there's an extra piece. There's an extra circuit. It's not like a whole circuit board, but there's an extra circuit that doesn't need to be there that you pick up as well. Just letting you know.
Okay. Now that we've...
Go ahead.
Yeah. I guess
Okay,
since we've got everything, we'll take that extra bit aboard and take everything we collected of Oakley and carefully but speedily, like sort of like trying to keep aware of environment around him.
uh-huh.
Try and get back to the actually, you know what? I'm going to just take the best of both sides and order a go to the. How close is the transporter room?
Uh, fairly close. It's, you're on the same deck.
And the lab's on a different deck.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I might as well go and get a transport to the engineering lab just to speed things up and to make sure that everything goes along with it.
Okay. Get transported right back to the engineering lab. And the next big scene is as all of you are finding your way into the conference room. Is there something that you guys want to do in the interceding, 15-ish minutes?
I get
Some of
my.
you obviously have stuff to do.
Not
I make
particularly, but Kara takes the seat to the captain's left.
is my. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, I make sure Eli makes sure the Borg is secured, the one that from the planet that we brought with us,
Right.
and I get myself a cup of coffee.
Nice.
Graves is just periodically checking his communicator and mulling a few things over.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward to the first senior staff meeting of the Reliant decks, and all of you at this point are gathered in the meeting room with Captain Commander Cole. I mean, she's your captain, but she is still just a commander. And when it doesn't matter who is the first or the last in, but as everyone takes their seat, she says, "I don't like that we lost a crew member, and don't like that we lost some of our cargo. That's besides the point. Some of you," and she looks over the faces at the table. She says, "Some of you have connections. Uh,
Graves
people,"
sighs heavily.
he says, "people you dealt with before Starfleet and may need to deal with today.
Understood, Captain?
I need to find out, look, Ryans aren't going to keep their cargo long. They're going to want to unload it, and they're going to want to unload it richly, which means they're going to want to be there when they try to unload it. I've taken the liberty to," she says, "I've taken the liberty to set up a course that, until we deviate from us, is taking us to a rendezvous with a civilian freighter for our passengers to unload and take their cargo into safer Federation patrolled space. Unless we find something before then, we're going to be unloading them without all their cargo. Again, I don't like that. So any of you who have a way of finding out where that cargo may be getting unloaded, let's get on that. And once we get that exocomp back up and running down in engineering. What's your estimate on that, Rick? Go ahead and make an engineering, and what's the second number I'm looking for? It's an engineering. The first number is reason. So again, 15 with a crit of 4.
I'm going to use the momentum for this one.
Okay. This will tell you how long it's going to take to have the exocomp back up and running.
Sorry, I've used the wrong command. There we go.
Duro. It is Duro.
Okay.
2 successes again. You build back you build another point of momentum, and your best estimate is if you leave the 2 engineers that are working on it, and not help them, it'll be done by the end of shift, by the end of the day. If you dedicate your time to helping them work on it, you'll probably finish it a couple of hours faster. It's about a 6-hour project to put the exocomp back together.
Yeah, I will give the estimate of helping.
Okay, so you tell her probably about 4 hours.
Yep.
Says once we know. So, have you been able to determine anything about the capabilities of the exocomp? And actually, you haven't, and you won't be able to until you get it powered back up. She says, hopefully, it recorded more information than just what we got from deck cameras.
I will inform Captain while examining the initial damage in the cargo bay. I did find an unusual part of a circuit board that wasn't initially that I did not expect. It is.
Looks
I
like
don't really know its use, but it seemed it was a part of the extra part of the Exocomp, Oakley.
Marcus Graves interjects and asks Cole, was the exocomp part of the original complement of the ship?
No. She says, no, I checked into it. She says it looks like it was left behind, or it was part of. She says it was part of the original fitting of the ship, part of the original engineering team that was fitting the ship. It's possible just simply someone forgot an exocomp in a Jeffries tube.
Well, at the very least, we can trust Lieutenant Tardigrade's judgment in effectively making a junior security officer. If I might also get back to that point, Captain, I can make some I can make some calls. But I can also suggest right now that we may want to pursue 2 avenues of investigation. I know of a planet near here that I may have spent time on back in my youth, the Utagra system. That might be a location where a team that doesn't include me might be able to apply the information routes.
He looks at everybody around the table and says, Chaplain, work with Graves, find out what kind of information we need to get. We're probably going to be the best at finding what we need if we go that route.
Eli speaks up. I have an idea as well, Captain.
Go ahead.
So, Orion's boarded the ship, like physically boarded the ship, correct?
Yes.
We could also scan the cargo bay and see if they left any trace residual soil, and see where that from. See what you got what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. See where that's from.
If
if it's in.
That's a good avenue as well. Take what you need and get those scans done.
Could tell
We
us
need to
their
find.
base of operations, so yes.
We need to find them. We can. So anything any of you can do to do that, do it.
I do have a
Doctor,
Sorry.
please, Kendra.
I know that back on my parents' farm, all valuable animals were microchipped with a GPS tracker. Were these Eppohs by any chance tagged?
Doubt it, but I will talk to our guests and see. There's something we could follow that way. Put
Captain?
the Borg body. Yes, Kara.
Is it possible that we may be able to simply track Lieutenant Tardigrade's con badge? Most con badges have at least a small emergency transmitter for, emergency such as this.
We also have a little bit of a button system. Lieutenant Tardigrade has not tried to contact me through said system. To be honest, Captain, I doubt we'll be able to trace him.
And unless it can hook up to a subspace relay, the comm badge will only have a range of approximately half a solar system.
With that in mind, Captain, I'm pretty confident that he was taken by the first pirate that Ibi you had a confrontation with. He did seem more reasonable than the pirates, so finding Lieutenant Tardigrade, it may come around, so to speak.
We'll see.
As in, I think our priority should be even finding the humans. Those will be much more difficult to try to relocate if they proceed along the economic chain. Lieutenant Tardigrade, he may stick around.
Will I interject?
See.
Are you suggesting a Starfleet officer is of less importance than some farm animals?
I'm saying Lieutenant Tardigrade can be very persuasive.
That being so, he's still a Starfleet officer. We don't know what could happen. Even if if this pirate seems reasonable, things can go haywire.
I'm well aware of that. That's
Captain says the doctor is right. Finding our crewmen is of top priority if we can. Finding our guests additional cargo. Hopefully we can get that done as if I'm reading the report that I saw correctly, brought Ed Borg on board.
mostly dead.
Yep.
Mostly dead. Keep it on ice down in the sick bay, Doctor.
Mostly dead? Mostly dead means still slightly alive.
And I was just about to say I was hoping to dissect it. Security measures, making sure it doesn't escape if anything goes wrong.
I like this
Is
idea.
there
Please
any
do it
slight-
in many parts.
after we find our crewmen.
All right.
Is there any slight chance we might be able to, say, revive the organic component?
We'll have to get a
Why?
much longer look at it in the sick bay, Doctor, to answer that question.
I'm a doctor now. No, I'm the doctor now.
Also,
Real doctor.
slight note, Hippie on the side did say a slight message. So
I caught that. I love it. I had a different name, but if that name works for you, I love it. It would be
there's
great.
a Foundry connection there. So anyway,
Cool.
yeah. So Graves will then say if we would like to pursue all of our leads as best we can, I would recommend sending an away team to the chakra system.
Once we're done here, Kara said, of course, we'll go to the Yugara system.
Hi, ma'am.
That is let me make sure I'm saying that right. Utgara.
Uchagra.
Chagra. Okay. He says, once we're done here, Kara said, of course, we'll head to the Uchagra system. Chaplain, you're going to be in charge of the away team. By the time we get there, know who you want to take.
Aye, sir.
Hi, Captain.
Is there anything specific to Tardigrade's biology that we can use to potentially track him down? How much do we in this day and age know about space Tardigrade?
Well, he's
Ignoring
joined
what we
Starfleet.
know from Discovery.
He's joined Starfleet, so you could potentially, yeah. I mean, he's going to stick out with the his neurology. I don't know about anything else that would make him readily identifiable, but he will stand out life sign-wise compared to humans.
Well, I was just wondering if, for example, if I don't know, he has any particular plasma emissions. If he
Not
there's
unless
some
he's had
sort of-
tacos.
if there's some sort of spore, if we could summon him by unleashing a spore cloud.
If he hasn't called back, he may not respond to that kind of inducement. He is, after all, charged with protecting those Eppohs. So if he's suspected that something has gone wrong with that mission, he may be trying to pursue it with all available means. We may have to physically locate him and have a very serious talk with him in order to get him to change his mind on that subject. He can be quite stubborn.
Captain says, let's get to work. Be in the Chagra system. Chagra. I like that. Chagra. Now, in the it's only going to take a couple of hours to get to the Uchagra system. Rick, you will be able to roll an engineering check for reconstructing Oakley in that time. Quentin, you will be able to roll a sciences check for finding other ways of locating Cadet Tardigrade. Graves will be able to make
some. Well, Graves, he's got to be making some phone calls.
Essentially, you're making some phone calls, but I'm thinking it would be. I'm like looking at the skills, going what ones seem to most likely apply for how much information can Graves get from his old contacts. I think it would be daring command to me. That does to me. Baz or anyone else could say, "Hey, maybe this would make more sense." But with Graves trying to,
I think he's going to be negotiating for information, so he's got to basically work through sort of the personal side. So I think daring insight might be the way to go. Although that does lower my number.
So daring is an attribute and insight is an attribute. So I could say insight if you want to go that, or presence, as in you're trying to convince. And
I would go with presence, actually. Presence command.
Okie dokie. So
you're making that roll. Para.
I just made the roll.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what everybody's got going on here. Kara, you're mostly, you don't need to make a roll. You're piloting the ship toward this Uchagra system. If you would like to look up more about the Uchagra system while you're doing so, you're in the best position to do that. Doctor, you have a medical role basically for doing dirt forensics. For finding traces of anything the Orions might have been wearing that might give away a position or something to that effect. Waitley, you have to be thinking about leading an away team to the surface of Uchagra, so looking up information on Uchagra the same as Kara can do is probably something you're going to want to do. And Kendra, being the security chief, there are all number of tests that you could run. Basically helping with you can certainly assist just about any of the roles that are going to be made here, except for reconstructing Oakley. But I mean, you could even say that you're going down to the engineering deck to assist Rick. So if you guys can give me just 1 minute, I got to take a really quick bio break, and can go ahead and discuss what you want to do once you reach Utagra. And Duncan, I was going to say, and Duncan can start to fill people in on Uchagra a little bit. We'll be right back. I just got a quick bio break.
Alanis, Waitley, Kara, and Eli. So let's see. So Marcus is going to have to give him a little bit of a rundown of the planetary system and basically where to go and who to talk to for information. So it's going to be a little bit of a huddle.
Chances of shots being fired on this planet, Chief?
Not very high unless you start effectively running your mouth. So the place you're going to be going to is a little bar on the north side of the north side of the western continent. So it's going to be a little bit cold there, so of course dress appropriately, but also don't dress too appropriately. You want to give a little bit of impression that you're relaxed, and the more you prep for this in terms of, say, your field gear, the more people are effectively going to be looking at ways of taking it off of you. You want to show that you are effectively relaxed in this environment. Everything should go pretty well at that point. So the bartender you want to talk to is a guy called Hazra. So Hazra, a little bit weird, but he's going to be a good one to talk to. Pretty sympathetic towards the Federation. And if there's something going down, he certainly won't be a part of it. So you want to just give him a little bit of pressure, and he'll respond pretty appropriately. He may ask you for money, but usually this is a bluff. I don't understand it either. It's just a species. So you're going to talk to Hazra, and, well, first check the security net. Make sure he's in kind of trouble. But talk to Hazra. Try to find out as much as you can. Probably first with the tardigrade. He'll probably respond a little bit best at it. But if you feel like you can get a little bit more out of him, then talk to him about the Eppohs, any kind of trade, anyone asking questions about that area. If you, let's see. Just thinking. If you see a kind of a squat-looking bullying guy, just don't make eye contact. He'll probably go away soon. People asking you for handouts are usually going to be looking for that as a way of mugging you. So yeah, just watch their hands and brush them aside. It should be pretty straightforward. The more force, a little bit the better there, because you're just showing them they're not going to be an easy target, but otherwise it should be pretty good.
So are my pistols okay?
Pistols should be perfectly okay. I'd also make sure they're conspicuously holstered, because you're just going to blend into the environment. People on Uchagra, they're not going to be packing heavy firepower, but ornate weaponry is a norm there, and it comes a little bit from the Gnostic side of the population there.
Sounds like a lovely place. Perhaps I'll spend my next shore leave on this planet.
I spent a few years there. It can be pretty nice to put down by the equator. This place, though, Baroque City. Yeah, it's just it's a very good place of finding a little bit of opportunity, and it's going to be certainly the best connected to all these locations. And yeah, Hazra's House of Ribs, again, don't ask about the name, is probably the best place to go. Or actually, one last thing. Don't try the ribs, but anything to drink there should be probably fine.
Hey, don't try the ribs in the House of Ribs.
No, he likes to experiment.
And don't ask where the ribs come from?
Probably replicated. That's why you don't want to do it. Hauser has way too much time on his hands.
Kara looks down and checks her pistol. Is there anything else, or should we go get ready?
Go get ready.
Aye, sir.
Hey,
Kara heads to her quarters and changes into a gray jumpsuit and puts on over it a black leather jacket. She keeps her pistol at her side, however, and hides her comm badge behind the leather jacket, and then moves down to the bridge, or moves up to the bridge, rather.
awesome.
All right. So as soon as he said that he trusts the bartender and he's probably not a part of it, anyone that has any kind of telepathy or empathy immediately got a thing from Whately, so he's definitely behind it. Understood. But aside from that, Whately just kind of sits there, fingers perched like he usually does when listening, nodding that he understands what's being said. He looks around, says, then he looks at Graves and he says, "So basically, what I'm getting is that we are going for bad guy, but not too bad a guy. Am I correct?"
That's correct. They're going to immediately notice you guys are Starfleet, but if you try to play it off as, say, Starfleet security, you should be pretty good. Those guys, this far out, they're always going to be a little bit dense, so to speak, or a little bit flexible, let's just say. So try to play off the Starfleet security, trying to look inconspicuous and should be gold.
Understood, sir. Is there anything else I should know? And I should specify that when he asks that, Whately never delves deep telepathically, but when he needs to, he will read surface thoughts.
Don't mention my name.
What name, sir? I don't understand. And by the way, that is officially the first time anyone on the bridge has ever heard Whately use a contraction.
Nice.
Marcus doesn't pick up on it. It's like my name, Marcus Graves. If you say Marcus Graves, there might be some complications.
Kendra is snickering under her breath.
Hey, let's make a couple of rolls before we arrive. Let's start with the doctor. You're doing some dirt science. And Quentin, if he were not working on finding ways to trace tardigrade, could help you. You are doing dirt science, doctor, and your dirt science is going to be rolled on reason and science. I'm going to go reason science. So you have a 14 as your target number, and none of your focuses apply. So you have 2 dice with a 14 as your target number.
Let me just 2d. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying this new system we got, and 14. You said
Is the target number? Yes.
Do that. Is it? I don't think that's posting. What the hell? And retry, because I am having complications Discord side. Oh, well, come on.
There we go.
There we go. Hey.
2 successes. Your critical range was not a 4. So yes, 2 successes. That is a momentum. You guys are now at 3. Which is a good thing to have built up in the first 45-ish minutes or so. And what you discover is indeed one of the Orions. Can't believe that. You said, you said you were going to do a dirt. You said you were going to do, dirt science, and you can't believe that ends up being what it actually is. It's not a lot of dirt. It's a very little dirt, like maybe the kind that would have scuffed off of a boot as they, residual, like a residual amount of soil or dirt that they would have left behind when they scooted across the deck plating to get, to get to the cage. And you find only two possible matches for the soil that you find. Those matches are KO system and the Uchagra system. In the in the area of space that you are in. So the two matches for that dirt are the KO system and the Uchagra system.
Sorry about that. I just realized I was muted. I shake my head and like, Uchagra system, I'll go get dressed. It's
Get dressed and get ready, right?
Yeah.
I love it. There were a couple of other roles that we could make. Quentin, why don't you go ahead and make? You might have already made the science roll. I'm sorry if I missed it. Oh, you did make it with 2 successes, no less. I was going to make you need. I just scrolled up. Made it with 2 successes, Quentin. I was going to make this take 2 successes because figuring out how do you trace Lieutenant Tardigrade? You figure out
Before you get
about Tardigrade's
too
DNA.
far into it, it does seem to have a complication.
So, yeah, he didn't put the target number in, so it defaults to 20. So,
And I didn't actually know what the target number was.
Ooh, I do see that. So there is a complication. I love it.
And no successes.
And no successes. So the problem is that John's DNA is essentially very, very, very different. His detecting him. Really, what Marcus gave you is the best you're going to have to go on. But because you're using ship sensors, you realize that you will be able to extend that sensor range, likely to include about a half a solar system, about the same as a comm badge might have. So the only thing you really have to go on is the fact that it's a different kind of life form. And not only that, he's a very different kind of life form. So, we have a roll from Bazag for Oakley back together.
Yeah, 15.
I see it, a 9 and a 5 with 2 successes. Am I correct?
No, that was, I haven't rolled yet.
It was before. Okay, so go ahead and roll 2d20
So,
with your
what's the difficulty? Just,
the difficulty is 1. Putting Oakley back together is putting back together some fairly standard Starfleet tech. If you do get a second success, I will have it not build momentum, but give you additional information.
all right,
As you put it back together.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a momentum just for an extra dice, just to.
Okay.
And I take it I've got a focus as well.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
As long as what I read before is correct.
2 and a complication, so I get extra information, but
A complication. So, you managed to put Oakley back together again, and get him operational, or get it operational. You do note that this exocomp has a very small hollow projector equipped on the front, where you've seen some security exocomps have like a blaster weapon, a phaser on the front where you've seen security exocomps have phasers, you see that this one has a small hollow projector on the front. And the you know where that extra, once you get the exocomp put back together, that extra little like circuit chip thing that you found, you know where it would go. Complication, and you could probably hook it up. The complication is that you have no idea what it does. I think that's a good complication.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in anyway. It was originally part of him.
Gonna put it in anyway because it was originally part of him. So in the chat, I'm sure that Theta will type things here and there, but Exocomp reactivates, turns back on, and floats up above the workstation, and has this is really Rick Tier's first like major time meeting this little exocomp, and the way that it kind of like it seems to not really rotate so much as turn just a little bit and look around as if it's looking around. It has almost, and it's very easy once you get it operational again to check its information, the information that it got on the scans that it was running when when Cadet Tardigrade was kidnapped. And there's something, the best you can say is that it's almost like this tiny robot as like a semblance of curiosity more so than a robot normally has, as it looks, because it actually can almost definitely say that it looks around when it wakes up. And its display screen shows a series of basically, it seems to indicate that it is emotionally happy on its display screen with a smiley face. I was going to say, you have the information from the creature now. It actually not the creature, from the robot. It actually recorded the transporter frequency that Lieutenant Tardigrade was taken with. You guys actually have the transporter frequency. It is a civilian frequency. Have the transporter frequency of the Ibi pirate who transported Lieutenant Tardigrade off of the ship. So.
Well,
oh no!
Yeah, so when Oakley remembers that Tardigrade is missing, don't worry, the information you've collected will help us find him. We've got the transporter signature. We are going to find him.
Gonna find him. And so I like that we're leaving the scene in engineering for a moment as Rick Tier is looking at a little floating exocomp, talking to it like it's a person. Like, don't worry, we're gonna find him. And there's probably like a reassuring moment there between them. And then we need to make a roll for Marcus needs to make his. Oh, you said you already rolled it. What did you roll? Roll?
I got 2 4s.
Got 2 4s. That's 2 criticals. Isn't it? Think. Yeah, that's 2 criticals. Holy. So that means you bank. Baz used 1 momentum, and you just banked. You just banked 3, and you guys are at maximum momentum. 5, right?
6 is maximum.
6 is maximum. You guys are 1 away from maximum momentum. Your black marketeering roll. What is the bartender's name again? His name was Hasra.
Hazra.
Hasra. You probably still have some contacts that deal with Hasra, and what you are able to pick up is from an old contact, a Bolian woman who doesn't involve herself in any of the dealings that go on Uchagra, just lives there, but is a very trusted ear of Hazra sometimes when they're drinking, and she says that this is one of the favors that you owe her for telling you something that he shared in confidence. There is it is one of the favors that she owes you, rather. Not that you owe her. I'm going to say like this Bolian contact on Uchagra, like she probably owed you, something. And she says that there's I don't know what we call them, but there's a minor time boss that operates out of the Beta Quadrant in the
A respectable businessman.
in and around the neutral zone. And word has it that she has contracted through contacts, we'll say, on Uchagra, that they're looking to move living cargo. I don't know exactly what that means, but I know that in the next day, sometime in the next day, there's gonna be living cargo moving through Chagra. So don't know
So at
what
that, yeah.
living
So
cargo. She says, I don't know what living cargo means. I didn't press, but sounds like the kind of thing you might be interested in.
it certainly would be. So let's see. Oh, I played the conversation in character. So Graves just basically says at this point, "Yep, thanks, ma'am. And if you see the old man about, don't tell him anything about me."
Right. And you're aware when she says right and closes the connection that he probably knows that he'll probably know within a few hours you were asking about what's going on Uchagra or what's going on in the quadrant, that kind of thing. You know that she won't totally keep her mouth shut, essentially.
He is suspecting that his old man was in the room the whole time.
Mm-hmm. It's very possible. And oh no,
Do it. Yeah, you got to go for the cape, Eli.
definitely wear the cool Lando Calrissian cape. I'm not gonna lie. Somebody has to.
All right. So
and
at this,
go ahead.
I was basically just doing a little bit of a recap. So we know where to go. We're coming up to the planet, so we're basically all good to go.
Question. Should we maybe bring Kara's dog with us as a, another thing? It's a dog, it's got teeth.
They may eat it.
Tough crowd.
Yeah, it's just the local wildlife there. I mean, you're basically bringing something that's analogous to a delicacy there. I mean, they're not, strictly speaking, dogs. They're kind of more starfish, but yeah, you just don't bring canines.
And we come back from like I imagine it's like in my mind I see us coming back from a commercial break as the Reliant now. Chagra, what kind of a world is Chagra? What does it look like from space? Is it like a blue-green planet? Is it a brown-blue planet? What does it look like? Okay.
Just typing something for Kara. Okay, so it has some. It's basically very scrubby, so it's going to be a mixture of pretty expansive polar areas, lots of tundra, arboreal forests, giving way towards the equator, towards these more sort of scrubby sort of brushlands, and then full-on sort of desert regions, kind of more barrens than like dune-like. So a little bit of a hodgepodge, so a lot of sort of blemishes, so it's going to be looking very sort of patchy, and including the distribution of land masses. It all sort of looks like a bit of a mess, although Graves has provided the coordinates for where.
Okay, so we see the Reliant, a space shot of the Reliant flying into taking orbit around the planet, and we actually are not seeing on board the ship, but what we see is the familiar hum of we hear that hum of a transporter signature and see the familiar silvery light dropping our away team, which is how many people? Who all is arriving on the planet? And I'll get to that in just a second. But that away team will be arriving in a city street. And this is a planet on the frontier, so I imagine it's not, like Starfleet or Federation level clean or anything like that. It's definitely you don't even see any security officers as you appear, and our away team arrives appearing in their transporter signatures from above, arriving on the street of a city, probably just the kind of thing where like you're far enough off, like maybe just slightly down a little alleyway that that allows you all to beam in. Now, who all is appearing on the planet?
Well, Kara's there, and before having beamed down, she's going to have raised an eyebrow at the fashion decisions of her fellow officers.
Capes.
So I want to post a screenshot and what it's going to be looking like.
Sure.
But the away team I mentioned is Elenis, Waitley, Eli, and Kara. Although if Rick and Quentin want to come along for any special reason, I wouldn't necessarily object. So while you guys are sorting that out, I'm going to refresh.
The only thing that would keep me on the bridge would be whether I'm still repairing Oakley at this point.
And Quentin is having a deep philosophical conversation with the computer network over the nature of tardigrades.
I love it.
Also, he has to keep the mold in check.
Yeah,
that could be the complication, is that the mold evolved and flipped out of the computer lab.
You see, we were so busy worrying about that Borg that while we were busy putting up the force fields around the Borg, the mold escaped.
The mold escaped. So Quentin, actually, now that you are in system, you would set up the computer to, you would set up an automatic skin to scan for life forms and such that are operating on a level as tardigrade, and you are in fact picking up a fungal life form that is I wouldn't call it moving. But there is definitely a fungal life form in the sick bay of your ship. We're picking that up as you because as you arrive in the system, or your scans start to look, half a solar system, anything that resembles that tardigrade, and the first thing that you pick up is a fungal life form in sick bay. And you do remember Lieutenant Tardigrade brought back like a sample from one of the early missions just a couple of weeks ago here in the cluster, and you know that there were containment protocols. Thank you, Theta. There were containment protocols for it set up in sickbay, and you know that right now those containment protocols are not operational. There is the fungus is free in the sick bay.
The fungus is among us.
Fungus is among us. Yes. Absolutely.
Just casually drop that mission reference there.
So we cut to the planet where we see the away team arriving in civilian clothes. I love that during our that during the end of our premiere episode, essentially, that you guys are in civilian clothing on a very non-Starfleety type planet. And you know that, assuming anyway, Graves, that they know that the crime boss that operates out of the neutral zone has set up a shipment of living cargo or living.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, Marcus would have passed that information along and just reinforced that Oscar is going to be well enough connected that he'll know something about that ship.
Right on. And so we have 4 people on the planet, if I'm right. And that being Kendra, Chaplain Waitley, Dr. O'Connor, and Ara. Is that true, the 4 of you on the planet?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
What would any of the 4 of you like to do as you arrive? The screenshot that Duncan shared gives a good idea of what the rest of the city looks like as well. It's not just Cardassian. I mean, I can see the Cardassian symbols there on a few cargo crates, but there are Cardassian symbols. You see Romulan symbols. You see one symbol that looks like mouth of an open like shark's mouth full of teeth, and that has the words that has the words Great White Trading Consortium on the box. So it looks like various places around here people do trading, probably both legal and illegal. Where would the 4 of you like to go? What would you like to do?
All right. So as soon as we beam in, as soon as we enter, obviously we're going to start garnering some looks. Waitley has been told he is responsible. So he has an idea going on to the planet, and as soon as they beam in, and as soon as he sees the look, he is going to experiment. Waitley has discovered his telepathy is a bit stronger than even he was aware of, so he's going to try something new. Whately is going to try projection. He is going to basically try to influence people's surface thoughts around him as far as he can reach out to be intimidated.
So you're basically projecting that your group is intimidating.
Exactly. Like, as soon as anybody sees us, they are just instantly struck with not fear, but intimidation. Just like, man, we don't want to screw with those guys, kind of thing.
They are struck with the idea that they should be elsewhere and doing other things.
I like that a great deal. And with that in mind, you move into the streets and into the plaza of this planet. Up above, Marcus, you now know what Cole looks like when she's got an away team off of the ship. You've already seen it once, but her normal relaxed pose in the captain's chair straightens up, and she's often leaning forward, waiting for reports. It's almost like her attention is just tied to her comm badge when people are off of the ship. You and the captain are on the bridge, as well as Quentin. And in engineering, what would you be doing down in engineering right now?
Okay, now that Oakley's repaired, he would have loaded the information from the from just the recent away mission in the team. But
Okay.
he would have informed Quentin about the transporter frequency and requesting scans to identify anything that might have that frequency active.
Okay. Then we go into our 5-minute break. We've been playing for about an hour and a half, minus me taking a quick bio break. So we're going to go into our 5 or 10 minutes so you guys can refill drinks. I know Nord's probably going to want to go grab a smoke. And we basically have our away team walking onto the street. And on the bridge, Rick Tier has just from engineering sent the transporter signature of the civilian pirate, and you're still trying to make sense of the information, especially now that you just detected a living fungus down in sickbay. And in addition to detecting a living fungus down in sickbay, Rick sends that transporter signature up to you, and there's more than just the Reliant above this planet. There are a number of ships in orbit around this planet. You think of the that civilian freighter that comes in 3 sizes, it's a very modular looking thing. There are some of those up above the planet, and a position elsewhere in orbit. We go to our commercial 5-minute break, where Quentin picks up that transporter signature coming from a ship elsewhere in orbit that you haven't locked your sensors on in any way in that direction yet. And go ahead and take 5. I'm probably going to just stay right here, but I know that guys like to take 5 in the middle. So take 5 and, pause recording. And
all right, recording again.
If I recall correctly, Eli is also empathic, correct?
That is correct.
So, you want... Whately gives him a look, doesn't say anything, but Eli definitely senses amusement.
Kara's look
Also, a hint of it's not as bad as mine.
Kara's general look at both Whately and Eli simply seems to be best read as, what have I done to deserve this plague of idiots?
Kendra looks over and gives an extremely approving look and says, nice cape.
Thank you.
So the four of you move toward this bar called, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Hasra's Rib Shack or Hasra's House of Ribs. And as you walk in, see a bar that that Duncan kindly shared a picture of earlier. Packed. The diversity of races in here is a little bit surprising, but only because you know that for the most part, a lot of Nausicaan mercenaries have thrown in with the Klingon Defense Force in the they've accepted contracts with the Klingon Defense Force, and you know that the word through the galaxy is also that Lethians have accepted contracts with the Klingons as well, and both Nausicaans and Lethians are in here, as well as think of there's so many of them I can't pin one down in my mind, but if you ever did the old exploration mission in STO, where one of them would be like feet 5 waves of this race that you'll never see again, it's like you see one person who has like a very large face. Like his head is normal sized, but his face is like expanded out, and he's got essentially it looks like a beard, but what it really is like ongles of skin that hang down off of the bottom of his face, and he's got these like they're not really scales as much as they are miscolored, slightly hardened skin of a deeper blue. And when the four of you enter, you do see at least, I'm going to say, 2 people look up, both of them Lethians, look up and take stock of the 4 of you and then go back to what they were doing, the people that are at their tables.
You hear you hear Hazra shout at the bar, specifically to Eli. Here, let me just take it back for the voice. Okay. Hey, you! Hey, you! In the cape! Yeah, come here.
Kara looks over at the man behind the bar and whispers to the group, I think I know that guy. He used to deliver fertilizer to my parents' farm.
Whately just cuts him a look that says silence, but doesn't say anything.
Like I said, Eli goes over since he was asking for him.
And Hazra just sort of, brings him close to the bar. Says, I told Draknok the magician that if any of his goons came by here again, I would send a blade immediately into his left toe. Now, I have a blade here. Do you know where his left toe is?
Not a clue.
Then we will just have to experiment together.
I don't even know.
Whately follows closely behind Eli, and as soon as the threat comes out, he doesn't say a word. Whately just looks at Hazra and glowers, and I'm pretty sure you know what he's doing. He projects that whole telepathic intimidation on him, and just makes eye contact with him.
Meanwhile, with Hazra's semi-literate threat hanging in the air, Kara is desperately covering her mouth and trying to keep her composure so she doesn't end up laughing.
So
I love it all. Go ahead.
Kendra attempts to swagger over intimidatingly and trips on a Nautican's foot.
Are you sure you trip on a Nautican's foot, or do you want to roll for that?
Roll for it.
Oh my word!
That
How
is,
we roll?
to see, I mean, I'm going to make you roll for it with a daring and security. So, I mean, you have a 15 as your target number. So it's not like it's too hard to not trip. Two dice with a 15 or less.
So
Kendra.
her goal was to trip, so that means she successfully tripped, right?
If you want to start a bar fight, I mean, you could trip over a Nautican's foot, but it's also pretty.
It's very in character, though.
It's
Kara to the
also
Reliant, one to beam up.
I was going to say it's also very easy to not trip over a Nautican's foot if such is your wit.
How about she trips on the Nautican's foot, smiles, and he looks at her befuddled and slightly charmed and just shakes his head.
No, that wouldn't happen. I mean, come on, one stabbed Picard in the heart because, you know.
Well, I mean, they are here for Riff.
He does have very high charisma, though.
They are
So
here for ribs.
I do have a question, and we didn't roll for this. This is purely at Q's persuasion, Q's preference prerogative. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Prerogative. What effect does Waitley's telepathic intimidation have on?
You are rolling.
Footless trip over?
Rolling 3 dice because your focus in psychology applies. You're rolling a presence command. Your target number is 14, and you crit on a 4 or less.
All right, what was the target number again?
14.
The mic cut out. Something teen?
14.
14. And you said crit range of 4?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
So that's... Well, wait. If the target number is 14, how is a 17 a success?
No, it isn't. The 3 is a crit success.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Nice. You build one more momentum, which means the group is now at max. And Kendra, you'd like to think that it was because of your natural charisma and how likable you are. That Nausicaan that you bump into and kind of half trip over as you're moving to the bar with everyone, he starts to stand up and he's looking at you, and those Nausicaan tusks are starting to bear open a little bit. He's definitely looking like he's standing up to fight. He looks over at the bar, Eli and Waitley, and sees who you're with. Grunt, sit back down at the table. So as I was saying, I've got a new opportunity down and he just goes back to his back to what he was doing with 3 other people at his table. 2 humans and you think a Cation, but this Cation's got really, really dark fur and sharp fangs. Does Kendra have a lot of experience knowing that Cations and Farasin are 2 different races?
Yes.
Okay, then sitting at this table is 2 humans, Farasin and a Nausicaan that had he not been like cowed a little bit by the projected we're intimidating, probably would have just started a bar fight. And so the 4 of you are at the bar where this Hasra fellow is.
And in the meantime, Hazra has taken out a knife and is Eli's feet.
I didn't realize I was muted. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Hazra, how did you get here from afar?
You're an Ibi. Hazra has extensive business interests, yes.
I see. Well, we're here to discuss business, as it turns out.
Draknok the Magician's business?
No, you idiot.
Not with
Kara shoots a
Draknok?
dirty look at Eli. Okay, I have no idea who Dragnok the Magician is, but no, not him.
For misunderstanding that, I should treat you to my very most special rib.
I'm a vegetarian.
Waitley chimes in at that point, glances at the others, looks back at Hotshot and says, "I'll try your ribs. I've heard of
Here
it."
you go. Here you go. Sample platter. Oh, very good. Yes. I have 6 different kinds of sauces. I've put them all on it.
Do you have honey barbecue?
Components of both are likely in there.
Then I'll eat it as is. And Waitley proceeds to softly nibble at the ribs, completely ignoring it. He's using his full psychological training at this point to nonchalantly eat what is in front of him and continue making eye contact with Hasra.
The fire scorpion venom offers quite a bit of a kick, yes?
It's okay.
You're still standing. This is good.
Kara leans over and whispers.
I think there's a roll there.
Kara leans over and whispers to Eli, "We're going to need to get him into sick bay as soon as we're done here."
Trust me, I'm ahead of you there.
Roll for it.
I keep forgetting I have my mic muted, but I keep laughing.
So what's the roll going to be? You've got to roll for it.
Did we lose?
Oh no, I'm here. I'm looking at Waitley's sheet, and I was about to say, Baz, what is appropriate for not like?
I think fitness and command, but I could be wrong. That would be my.
Definitely fitness. It sort of could be anything really, depending on how.
I think fitness command does work. So your target number is 11. They don't have any like strong stomach or anything like that.
Because I invoked it, does my psychology focus? Like I'm mentally preparing myself if this is a terrible idea.
Doesn't help.
You have eaten the ribs. Nothing can help you now.
God dang it.
That's 2 successes.
Nice.
Okay, Hazra did something right for once. Everybody note this down. It'll never happen again.
So Waitley just finishes up the ribs, still making eye contact with Hasra. Puts the fork or whatever the utensil is down as soon as he's finished eating. glances away, looks at the rest of the bar, looks at the party and everything, looks back at Hostra, and then gives a very slight gentlemanly belch. Now, as we were discussing,
I assume you are here on security business, yes?
he gestures that he should be talking to Eli, but doesn't say anything.
Yes, we are here on security business.
Information you seek, yes?
That is correct.
I'm afraid I've given it all.
I'm afraid I've given it all out, and we switch back now to the bridge, where Quentin has just detected two things. Marcus is on the bridge with the captain. All the other seats are crewed by junior officers, essentially, other cadets that you don't necessarily have names for yet. And Rick, down in engineering, getting Oakley put back together give you a quick idea, and if you take a moment to make sure that you record the idea, you can make a second roll on that extended task of making your ship fly better. And basically getting Oakley's propulsion units back online. You thought to yourself, wait, what if I rerouted things on the main engine the way that they were routed through there? And all you have to do is just get the idea written down and make that roll. Your second roll on your extended task.
Okay, so I'm going to roll a momentum.
Okay.
We'll take a momentum.
As you're down to 5.
And part of the untapped potential thing is after we do a roll with momentum, we roll a challenge dice and we get that momentum as bonus on top of whatever
sweet.
we roll.
Sweet, I love it.
Can I use a determination to re-roll?
Yeah.
I think
think so.
to improve braced? Or knowledge and its careful application can solve anything. Either one.
Knowledge and its careful application can solve anything. Because in this case, you'd never worked on robotics. You had never worked on an exocomp before. And gaining the new knowledge of how they thrusters work on an exocomp, the careful application of that can solve the problem of getting the Reliant to go faster.
Okay, so re-rolling with actually the major bot. There we go.
Hey, 2 successes.
3 total. I'm keeping the 9 from previously.
Okay, 3 total, and that means you roll how much for essentially how much damage do you do to the track? Last time you did 3 by my memory.
I think I just did 5. So 5 actual damage, but it's
okay.
Engineering plus 2. It's whatever the discipline plus 2 is.
Hey, so in this case it's what, 6?
66, yeah. There we go. So I only got I'm going to use a momentum to re-roll all those.
You got 2 effects out of that, though.
I'm going to re-roll a 3. I can roll some of them, so I'm going to re-roll 3 of them.
And you guys are at 4 momentum.
So it's another 3 dice is 3 effects. So that's 4 and 3. 4 damage and 3 effects.
Okay, that puts you all but done. You know that with just a little bit more work, you're going to be able to increase the power output. You're going to be able basically to decrease a little bit of the safety margin on a couple of conduits and basically reinforce them. Imagine your power is coming from one location, going through a bunch of conduits. By slightly, call it like decreasing, as I said, the safety margin at one point and then reinforcing it later on, you know that you're like the tiniest bit away. Once you actually do it, I think ship might be able to reach a sustainable cruising velocity of 7. And up on the bridge, Quentin, you've just detected a sentient fungus, or it may not be sentient, but you've detected a fungus among us in sick bay with the safety protocols not active around it. And you also just picked up the transporter signature from another spot in orbit that you were sent by Rick. And one other thing that you pick up. Once your sensors are, you pick up the transporter signature, and once you turn your sensors in that direction, there is different kind of life form, probably matches what Lieutenant Tardigrade would look like on scans, on board the ship that just had a transporter signal go to the planet. Grade is over there.
Captain, I think I found something.
What do we have? What do we have?
Sensors just detected a transporter signal that matches the frequency of that detected during the liberation of Lieutenant Tardigrade.
Okay.
Additionally, I am detecting what appears to be a biosign that is in line with the scans we have of Lieutenant Tardigrade.
Oh, because in the direction that Quentin's indicating, and she looks to her right at you, Marcus, and says, "You think you can convince him or liberate our erstwhile crew member?" Hailing frequency open to that ship. Looks back at the tactical station. Get hailing frequency open to that ship. So at this point,
We're on the ground here.
At this point, I don't know, Marcus. I don't know who would be on the Ibi ship. Besides Lieutenant Tardigrade.
Let's see.
Be getting a hail from a Federation vessel.
You don't get a let's see. You don't get a you don't get a visual profile, but you hear a young woman's voice on the line, and she just says, just completely matter of factly, "Yes, can I help you?"
Captain stands up and walks into that space between between the command circle and the ops and helm console, and she says, "For an unregistered vessel operating in a Federation protectorate, and our scanners show that you are holding a Starfleet officer aboard your ship."
"Oh, you mean the little one?
"Yeah, the little one."
You want to talk to him?"
He looks over at Marcus and, indicates, she goes, "Yes, we'd like to talk to our crewmate."
So you hear some conversation on the side. The comlink opens up, and there's just sort of an empty chair sitting there. And then you just hear some, like, a little bit of scrabbling, and a thump on the floor. And then Lieutenant Tardigrade sort of climbs up onto the computer monitor, or into the control station. And he just waves.
Cadet, you right?
Yep. And he just leaves it at that.
Goes, yep. We're gonna need you to come back aboard, Cadet.
He shakes his head.
Oh.
So Marcus is just looking at the ceiling, just not reacting, arms folded, just like sitting there.
Not yet. Was that?
Red.
Need to talk to the captain of that ship. They're in trouble.
I don't think he's here. And
So,
yeah. John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to play against yourself. I get it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you want to? Okay. Do you want to do Tardigrade?
I was going to say, could Marcus convince Tardigrade to come back aboard? What is Tardigrade's motivation for looking at the commanding officer and being like, I can't come back aboard? You know what I mean?
It's a bit of a spoiler.
It's a secret. He already told us.
It's a secret.
I know. So it's a matter of what would he tell Marcus?
And he would just look at just straight on Marcus and just say, "I'm on a mission." And Marcus just says it just kind of looks up at the screen. It's like, they took some of the Eppohs. Lieutenant Tardigrade replies back, "I know. The Khan told me. We're going to get him back." And he's just sort of like just still at the comm station, just not really doing anything. Marcus is just sort of rubbing his chin, just contemplating, and he looks over to Cole and says, "I would recommend letting this play out a little bit longer, Captain."
Looks over, she looks at the screen that now has Tardigrade on it and says, "Come on, we'll mess this up."
Understood, Captain. He just gives a little bit of a salute. And then he also just sort of...
He taps her comm badge so that Tardigrade sees it too, and she says, "Transporter room. Little lock on Cadet Tardigrade aboard the vessel that we have approached," and she gives coordinates. "If you get the order, I want you to pull him off of that ship as fast as possible." And she makes a look at the screen that Tardigrade understands she's giving him a little bit of leeway, but that she's ready to pull him out of there if she has to. And as John, like I said, she says, "John, mess this up. Careful. Pull out."
Understood, Captain.
And she breathes and she says, and when the channel cuts out, she looks over at Graves and says, "At least we know where our crew member is." Navy ship, that pirate ship didn't take us if they had to. So as long as he's all right, I'm willing to let it play out. looks over at Quentin and says, she says, Quentin, good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Down on the planet, you have a bartender who is looking at the away team. And he just said, sorry, I already gave all my information.
Kara has meanwhile ordered a burrito.
What do you mean you gave away the information?
I gave away the information you are likely seeking, yes.
To
Well,
whom?
information is a precious commodity. You can only give it out once. Although, if you would like to speak to the person whom I gave it to, they may be willing to trade.
I mean, did you have a look at this information?
I told it to him. It was in my head. I must look at it with a mind's eye.
Then you could always tell it again.
Hasra,
That
do
is
you
not-
even know what information we're looking for? All you know at this point is that we're looking for information.
Yeah, there are things on this planet which may not necessarily be within the best spirit of business. You are here as, I presume, Starfleet security personnel. You may only be looking for that one thing, yes. However, it would not be...
I hate to interrupt, but as soon as he mentions Starfleet security, Whately leans forward, literally gets nose to nose with Hasran, exerts every ounce of what's the word I'm looking for? Telepathic intimidation that he can, and simply says, "We have questions. You're going to answer them, and you're going to be quiet about it."
Hasra is just manically... he's just grinning. So Hasra says, but I can direct you to the person who has this information at present.
Kara leans over to Whatley and whispers to him, for something like that to work, the target has to have a brain. Hasra doesn't.
Whately does not exude the ridiculously derpy laugh I just gave.
Just
Okay, there is nothing wrong with some derpiness once in a while.
When it transpires, Whately blinks. Give Hofstra another chance. I'm assuming at this point he's basically immune to his telepathic intimidation.
Yeah, he is quite immune to...
Okay. Alright. He blinks, he looks at Eli and says, "Your recommendation?"
I don't like it, I don't agree with it, but I accept it. Tell us who.
And where's my burrito?
And get this woman her goddamn burrito.
I can tell you where this person is. They may be able to provide some assistance to you. So the person in question, my dear Ibi friend, you should be able to recognize them quite well. They are standing right behind you and are of your species.
There's a long, drawn-in breath, and Kara grips the bar white-knuckled and looks back over her left shoulder.
The Ibi pirate
captain. I was going to say the pirate captain that you saw on the screen on board the bridge of the Reliant is behind you in Hosfra's House of Ribs.
As
Kara,
Whately
without saying anything, turns back to Hosper and simply says under her breath, "I'm not paid enough for this."
Not paid at all.
You come for work for me. Hasra offers well pay for Federation. No, never mind.
You know what? I'll consider it, but I've got a few years before I can do that.
The Ibi pirate captain, meanwhile, is just sort of he's just sort of motioning like, yes, get on with it.
Swagger on over to the table, flipping my cape as I turn around.
I just laughed for like 2 good minutes straight. This is why I mute. Alright, so as soon as Eli turns and looks, Waitley follows his look, and immediately his hand reaches down his belt to grab the Type 1 phaser he's keeping down there. Doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, he just follows Eli's lead. But God, I am laughing so damn hard right now.
This is awesome. I'm laughing too.
So presumably they're finding a table.
I'm
Going
thinking
over to
so, yeah.
So the pirate captain just grabs a drink from the bar and follows him to the table.
All right, grabs
Whoa.
her burrito from Hasra and follows.
Okay, I was gonna say if Kara hadn't got her burrito yet, the last thing Waitley did before he left the bar was give Hasra one last get her burrito. Burrito is better than mine.
Actually, for like the past 2 minutes, Kara's just been banging on the bar chanting, "Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito?"
So channeling my inner Lando Calrissian, I just lean on the table, like look at the Ibi and ask, "Where's our information?" It's easy enough to come by, but first I need a little bit of, shall you say, assurances from you lot.
And what would they be?
Transport for one Starfleet officer,
That's a given.
and likely some military support if things go bad, but I promise not to shoot you, or your ship, or anything you feel particularly good about. But this is just something I'd like to get it done over with, and there we go. Are we in agreement?
Details.
Yeah.
No, we mean
So,
details.
I think I recognize you.
Would you? Just coming out straight from the academy, yes? I mean, the vids have been a little bit all over about you. Joining up academy, following in the such illustrious footsteps as a, exiled administrator?
I believe someone named Castus Rick.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I see. Well, I'll just call you CR for now, since you still haven't given us your name.
Gave you my name, it's Pecan. On the original ship, Battle. Oh wait, you weren't there. So
Actually,
anyway,
you didn't.
yes, my name is
You didn't give
Pecan.
us your name back then.
I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't know where that was in character.
Does it matter anymore?
I think there's something we should be doing.
At this point, people are just firing phasers at the cameraman. Discipline has broke down on the set.
I've sent you private message, Duncan, about the information.
Yep.
Either the bar. Yep. I was going to say that either the bartender or the Ibi pirate captain have. And a reason why the Ibi pirate captain isn't doing it himself.
Yeah. So there's a reason here. So anyway, so the Ibi pirate captain is just sort of he's obviously been running around a little bit. He's a little bit disheveled, and basically just says, "All right, you lot, you can come with me. There's certain facility on this planet which is amenable to, oh, the hell with it. They're loading your cargo onto a freighter right now. Do you want to come and save those little furballs or not?"
Kara looked over at him. Look, all right, I'm no secret agent. Speak plainly. I don't deal well with all these code words.
I was speaking plainly.
Waitley puts his hand forward and says that is Starfleet for yes. Yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Waitley can tell that at this point, Kara is just winding him up. That's the whole point.
Waitley shoots her a glance He doesn't use the telepathy or anything. He just shoots her a glance. Hopefully she reads it right.
The we don't need to shift to the tense moments on the bridge. Now you know that most unpredictable member of your crew is on the pirate ship and has a plan. You have 4 away team members on the planet, and the captain has setbacks. She's on the edge of her she's on the edge of her captain's chair with her elbow with her elbow on her knee. Looks over at Marcus, and like the extent of the scene we get on the bridge for a moment is her saying, "Do you think he's got a plan?"
Yeah, this is definitely Lieutenant Tardigrade exercising a plan.
All right. And we're back on the planet as 4 away team members.
The instant at the comm console, upon hearing the words, Lieutenant Tardigrade has a plan, crosses herself.
Just like, oh man. With our 4 away team members, Kendra, Chaplain Waitley, Kara, and Dr. O'Connor, moving I love what you guys are putting in the chat, the funny picture. You're moving with this Ibi pirate into a basically it's a landing bay for a very small freighter. And what you see is a shaped but not painted like the La Serena. It is a very small, only like I think it's like 85 kilometers long. It's basically like seeing Millennium Falcon landed in a bay at Tatooine. Is what you can see. And
You said
that,
kilometers.
Eli?
You said kilometers. I think you mean meters.
Meters, yes, sorry, meters. I meant meters. I think it's only like 85 meters long. It's an actual Kaplan F-17 or whatever they are. And can see all of you that the bay is full of Orion. Mostly it's male Orions wearing it's almost like a uniform if I want to call it just like buckles and leather straps over their chests, as well as like tight kind of brown pants. But they're all dressed very similar, and when I say full of Orions, I say that there are 6 of them in the bay that you can see, and they all have 2 of them have rifles. Kendra, you're a security officer. You right away see they have disruptor rifles, and the other 4 have disruptor pistol sidearms. The back end of the bay on the other side from where you are, there basically is a storage room, like a warehouse sort of room, and back there you can see there's a small group of people talking, but you can't count them. Would the 4 of you plus the Ibi pirate like to do? Like I said in the message to you, Duncan, heavily guarded transport is happening. There's 6 plus people in the back as well. What would you guys like to do?
Well, technically, I'd like to do something dumb, but maybe for once we shouldn't.
I like that answer. Wheatley is going to kind of glance around, and everyone on the away team is going to get a thought in their head. I'm not saying anything to give us away, but what are you guys thinking? And that would be the second time the crew has heard Waitley use a contraction. Man, you guys are being a bad influence on him.
Kara doesn't say, but turns slightly to where only Eli can see this, or where only Waitley can see the side of her, uniform, and taps her pistol meaningfully.
Idea.
Waitley's hand is still resting on the inside of his belt. I'm sure that nobody knows exactly what's there, but I think the away team kind of gets his gist. And actually, since he's now projecting to them, he's like, I have a Type 1 phaser in my hand right now. So if that's what you're thinking.
Eli speaks up. We don't have to let this resort to violence. I have an idea.
I would prefer not to go to violence. What is your idea?
Well, I could sneak out of here real quick, contact the ship, see if I can get some kind of sedative gas, put in a grenade, just toss a couple in there, and see him get knocked out.
I like that idea, except for one minor detail. That would take entirely too long, and I'm not sure everyone in this room is susceptible to the things that I can do to them.
Say that again?
I said, I like this idea, except for one minor detail. I am not sure that everyone in this room is susceptible to the things that I can do to them. Meaning, I could wreck everyone out, but I don't think everyone would fall to it.
And that's why I'm saying I want to get some sleeping gas.
Wouldn't it affect us?
Not well, the gas would, but not what I would do.
We just shoot first, and immediately their advantage of numbers is gone.
Oh, hey, I just remembered something. Our phasers have a stun on. I'm suddenly not that close to my...
Also, remember, Eli's a pacifist, so he's not doing any shooting.
We've got the pirate captain to fill in Eli's spot.
Still might not be enough.
Well, that's 4 of them going down before they'll react, and then it's 4 on 4. Seems pretty even.
Okay, so the plan is, unless anyone has any other suggestions, I send a telepathic blackout to everyone in the room that is susceptible to it. We phase everyone that isn't, while Eli sneaks out and grabs a sudden stun canister and question mark?
The pirate captain has been quiet this whole time and just looks behind him and says, I didn't tell you this was your freighter, did I?
No, we just assumed, because why else would we be here?
That's a correct assumption, but I just want to get this straight. You are planning on just assaulting these guys. And I didn't actually tell you that we couldn't just, talk to them or just negotiate. I mean, we are business people after all.
I do not like these people. I do not like their business.
Waitley gives a very sudden and harump tough look. I hate to say this, but the captain is correct. We should try talking first.
No, in numbers or else they'll be intimidated. So, one of us, and since I'm pretty much useless in a fight, may as well go up first and be bait. Will you guys stay hiding?
Kendra has been listening to everyone's suggestions and now clears her throat.
Mind you, most of the suggestions were telepathic, not vocal. But go ahead.
As head of security, I'd like to suggest that I go forward and try and negotiate while you guys stay hidden.
If you gotta go up there and shoot, you don't have the element of surprise. They'll see you drawing.
Look, I hate to say it, but if someone's going up there, they should go with CR here. CR seems to know what's going on.
I was going to say I do not, and I could be mistaken on this, but I don't believe the chief of security should be the bait if this goes south.
But
I
I
like
do have a
I like Eli's
specialization
plan.
in communication and diplomacy.
I can take her with her plenty fine. I mean, it's not like I've got an entirely Ibi crew. I don't need to take you on. Yeah. It should work just fine. Just stay behind me, act like you are just let's just say, administrative assistant. There we go.
Captain,
And
I do not mean to insult you or undermine you, but in all fairness and honesty, I do not entirely trust you. Is that fair?
yes, that is completely and absolutely fair. Although note that I am going completely out of my way to assist you in doing something that should ideally benefit me alone. So keep that in mind.
Which is why I do not entirely trust you, if you understand.
Yes, I understand. I've dealt with, let's just say, eager types in Starfleet well enough. So, are we agreed that I go speak to the pirates with a little bit of backup, while you three just organize something that will hopefully draw a little bit of fire if this goes south?
Kara, meanwhile,
Alright.
has finished her burrito.
By the way, when he said, "Is that fair?" the last time, that was probably only the second time anyone has ever seen Waitley smile. After the EB captain says what he says, he looks at Kara, says, "You're in charge," which is only the third time anyone has ever heard him use a contraction. He says, "I will go with you."
Such bad
Oh,
influence.
it's useless back here then. And yes, I said that in character.
I thought you were going to call the ship and set up a
Don't look at me. I was
Sleeping
voting for
gas.
Linus to go with him.
No, I
Yeah,
said I
I
can
thought
go.
I was
I
gonna
can
go.
contact the ship and get like a grenade beam down, and I could just lob that in there before getting to cover if you guys have to shoot.
How about this? I'll just stick Eli in front of me. Human shield.
It's exactly what Waitley is trying to avoid doing.
Okay, so obviously you're going to have to call the ship, Doctor. You're probably going to call who?
Do we have a quartermaster in charge of equipment and the
Mhm.
like? Probably them, because I'm getting equipment. Just to be clear, I sneak out of the little hangar bay there.
And you get his official job title is Chief of the Boat. He's a non-commissioned officer, and his name is Remy. And he says, "What are we looking for?
I
You
need
looking
some.
for, Doc?"
I need some kind of grenade that can incapacitate someone, multiple people, obviously, in a small radius, preferably through gas, like a sleeping grenade, basically.
I'll get in touch with the transporter room. We'll have something for you in a moment.
And
I was going to say it takes literally a moment, Doc, before your combat chirps again. It's a light chirp. It's not one that's going to give you away, and you hear Vashti to O'Connor.
Connor here.
Doctor, I've got an idea, but it's going to depend on how big of a radius you need to blanket with sleeping gas.
The inside of an F7 speed freighter.
It's a lot of sleeping gas.
Well, just the cargo bay, not the entire ship.
That's more sleeping gas. Look, I can do about half of that. She says I can do about half of that. I can transport and disperse. I've got Remy coming down. Got Remy coming down to meet me in the cargo bay. We're going to be able to disperse and anesthetize gas. When you need it, all we need is a comm badge to lock onto.
When they get me caught in the radius, too.
Anybody in the radius is gonna get knocked out.
See, this is
They
why I'm asking
breathe
for a grenade so I could toss it and run.
Grenades it is then, and within a moment you have two why can I not say anesthetizing gas grenades. She says, "Grenades it is then, Doc," and she teleports down. It's a box. It's one of those like black kits that they carry, and you open it up, and it's got two grenades in it.
All right, now just give me a second. I'm trying to figure out where I would hide those on my.
Meanwhile,
Those
Meanwhile-
questions are better asked off.
yeah.
Anyway,
Meanwhile, Castus is like he did not wait for Nick and any of this. So, like when he went off to coordinate with the ship, he just walked over to the pirates and is now just like chatting with them conversationally.
as you walk into the bay, two that have rifles train them on you, and the other four draw their sidearms. They draw their pistols, and one of them with pistols walks over to meet you about halfway toward the freighter, and he says, "We have this bay for the afternoon. Be on your way."
No, what? You know what? I think I know you, or know you. Big green guy. Bar on
We're all
Damage.
big green guys.
Oh, you are particularly big. Now, bar on Damage. I mean, you were dancing with it. What was that? Crixelian? But I mean, you were just completely going nuts. You fell over my table, and then we got a bit of a punch-up. But then you got to talking a little bit later. You told me about your family, and you know what? I think your name was what? Grix? Grix was it? Right?
Wasting my time.
That's what you
Bay
said
is
then,
off
too.
for the afternoon. Leave, or I'll shoot you.
Your boss.
Are they in my sight?
Oh yes. And now the two of you have two have walked in. The two of you have walked in, and you can see that in the back of the bay, there is looks like a human with gigantic ears. And those ears have ridges in them. It's not a Ferengi. It looks more like a human who's just got really big ears. But it is an alien who is holding a pad that he is receiving from an Orion who is not dressed like the others. This guy actually has looks like kind of a nice leather jacket over. He looks like if Mal from Firefly was an Orion with no shit bolted to his head, and his jacket was black. So he's dressed much like Mal would have dressed in Firefly, and he's handing the pad back to this big-eared creature, and he looks back as the creature is taking it to see two people in the cargo bay. And like I said, back with where you are, that is now, you can see all six of the Orions with guns, and you can see those two plus looks like a guard. This guy is dressed with a helmet and has a rifle. He's standing at a door. It almost looks like he's a guard.
Okay, so as Eli is trying to make his way out the door, Whately is going to focus on those two Orions that are directly between him, and basically put a very... you didn't miss much, Eli. He was just describing the room and who you were talking to and everything. Whately is going to telepathically, because he knows he can affect Orion males. He is going to put a very strong suggestion in their minds that now is a really good time to go take a leak.
Roll.
We're talking incontinence level. Like, they can't
roll.
not.
Roll. There are. I'm sure there's no like official role for this, but roll. You have the talent of telepath, so I'm going to say roll a presence and command. So 14 is your target number. You have psychology, that doesn't apply. Just 2 dice. This whole episode has yakety sax behind it. Two dice coming up. 2 successes. Guys earn back 1 momentum, and so the 2 that are. So you're thinking of the 2, the one that's dressed kind of differently from the others, or just the 2 with rifles.
See, this is where psychology would have played a role, is that he knew that they don't just go where they are. He needs them to leave. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at what Duncan said in chat.
I know, I am too. Which 2 are suddenly struck with a need to go to the bathroom?
Seriously, let's just put yakety stacks over this entire episode.
I know, right? You have 6 in the main bay with you. 2 have rifles and have walked. 2 have rifles. One with a pistol is one that's walked over and talked to you. In kind of that back alcove at the door to another area, which is probably, it looks like a warehouse type of thing. There is the Orion, who looks kind of like a captain or something, talking to the guy with big ears, and there's a guard at that door. And it's not an Orion guard. It's just a humanoid figure in a helmet with grayish colored overalls, but it's all one suit. It's all one belted suit. So it's kind of like mechanics overalls, but not really.
So it's a
Would this be the person you named in that message you sent?
No.
Okay.
So which two, Chaplain, have to go pee?
The 2 that are most in the way of Eli getting out of the room.
There's none in the way. Eli slipped out of the room without a problem. He slipped right back out into the hallway, right outside. You heard the transporter hum. He's probably getting what he wanted.
Okay. Then, in that case, the 2 that are most in the way of him getting back into the room.
There's none in the way of him getting back into the room.
I completely misunderstood that. I thought there were 2 Orions that had confronted him as he was leaving, and those were the 2 I was targeting. I completely misinterpreted that. My bad, but there are now 2 that
I mean, it could be the 2 that are the Orions that are confronting the pirate captain. So then they might say, wave him on to the boss.
Might be, yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. The 2 that actually, the one with the pistol that actually spoke to you, and one of the ones with the rifle that was heading toward the 2 of you. The one with the pistol gets a real uncomfortable look on his face, and kind of does that shift where you're squeezing your legs together a little bit, and he goes, "You're gonna need to talk to the boss, all right?" And he and the guy with the rifle just lets it sling to his shoulder, and he and that guy head out of the room. They head out of the bay completely through another door.
Just
is what I would say. Is
they don't realize that each of them is going to the bathroom, so there's going to be a fight when they both get there.
right?
Hopefully there's multiple heads on the ship. Unlike the Enterprise B, which apparently only had one.
They also had a transporter system.
That's true.
Just transport waste into space.
I am doing something that hopefully is a great deal of help to visualization here for everyone.
While you do that, there was some contestation as to Whately's decision. He is keeping the telepathic link open with everyone as much as he can during this. How vehement and how numerous is the disagreement with his decision for how this goes? Because if there's enough people and it's vehement enough, he might second guess himself, but I doubt he will, because he's basically offering to sacrifice himself so that those he believes are more capable can do what needs done if his plan fails.
Kendra was very concerned about his welfare, which is why she didn't want him to go as bait.
And
Kara thinks it's a bad idea for him to go, because if we need somebody who's going to be sweet-talking them, Kendra is the better option.
the person who can't make them think things they don't think. And Whately will actually, like, if he picks up on Kara's thought, he'll say, I can literally make you think you have to go to the bathroom right now. Are you
Right,
sure?
but Kendra just wanted him. Kendra wanted him in a safe spot to be able to use his telepathic
I
powers.
finished it. Nice, I finished it.
Whately will like specifically focus on Kendra and say, since you are security chief, you have a right to know this. I do not have a full comprehensive gist of what I can do. So perhaps relying on me as a backup plan is not the best idea. Now, as a full force frontal assault with an actual backup plan with phasers, to me, makes a little more sense. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Kendra she can't telepathically communicate, but she thinks at Whately. Yeah.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken,
Hey,
he can
guys.
actually link everybody. Like, we're all hearing each other in like a telepathic conference chat.
No, actually, you've never tried to do that. Right now, can
Oh.
everybody? I'm just gonna everybody see the picture that I put in game chat.
Man,
Yes.
I see Pac-Man.
It's not like a great picture. To explain it, the big square is the size of the bay. On the left side, in the blue circle, that's the doorway that most of you are at. Those 3 X's are the members of the away team still at the doorway. Yeah, just the big red thing is the size of the freighter in the bay.
Okay.
The green dots there are the 4 remaining Orions, with 2 of them kind of moving up to take their boss's position as their boss just left. One with the rifle is the one in the back that looks like an E laying on its side.
I see it.
The dark blue X is Whately. The light blue X is the Ibi captain. The alcove on the right, that is the alcove area with a door leading off of it. The little purple circle is the guard. Little orange circle with looks like arms. Those are actually his ears. And the green dot is the Orion captain who's talking to him. Is the current layout of where people are. So, the 2 of the Orions just went out of a door that would be on the bottom of that picture. So, that's the 2 that suddenly had to pee. What happens when they suddenly have to pee? They say, you're going to have to talk to the boss. And the other Orions kind of look a little bit confused, but one of them says, holds up a finger and says, "You wait, us." And Orion, the Orion says, the Orion at the back at the alcove says, "Get the unit onto the lifts for me, and I'll go with this." And he comes walking over. He's, as I said, he's dressed like Mal from Firefly, or like dark colors. He's like, and he doesn't have any nonsense bolted to his head. He has a sidearm that it's not a typical disruptor pistol. It's a little bit different. And he comes walking over and says, "What can I do for you?"
Waitley, wait, I'm not muted. Okay, I'm not muted. Waitley glances at oh, what was the captain's name? CR or something like that.
That's what.
No, not the pirate captain we're coming to talk to, but the one that's kind of vouching for us and bringing us.
No,
Vakar or something. Vakesh.
yeah,
Vakara.
Vakan is the name he's given you, and then he's been referred to as CR by Carr.
CR, okay. So he glances at the CR and basically looks to see who not. Actually, hold on. He just basically projects to him who's taking the lead, you or me.
He just sort of shrugs and turns to the boss man and says, or trying to figure out basically what the game plan is here. So he turns to him and basically says conversationally, it's like, we need to renegotiate. We need to renegotiate.
Renegotiate? I've never met you.
Well, you may have met people I've been employed by who may have in turn been involved in a series of negotiations, which I have absolutely no idea where they are right now. But the short answer is you have a bit of cargo that's going to the wrong destination, and we are here to offer you something better.
I like the part about offering me something better. But you want my cargo?
Yes, and I will just presume that this is the cargo that was specified by International Transport or Interstellar Transport Regulation C13 to be very suspicious, but under the label of CR9J17, correct? There are little green things inside. They move about and squeak.
Says, no. Of course, then again, I don't know all of the regulatory codes. That's not really in my job description.
They're written on the containers.
Waitley affects a very, very bad Irish accent and says, "Oi, look, I don't care about the fucking regulations. You got something me and my crew want. What's your fucking price?"
Cassis just turns to him and just goes, "Your crew?"
If you two are going to start a lover's quarrel, I've got no time for it. If you want my cargo, you've got to beat the price that I'm going to get for it. Price I'm going to get for it.
And meanwhile, Waitley has this, like, he's completely ignoring CR. He's just looking at the other captain with, like, this expectant, stop wasting my time kind of look.
The price that I'm going to get for it.
And then?
Kendra motions.
He says, the price I'm going to get for it is a reconfigured Starfleet weapons computer with all the codes broken put onto our ships. Faster, they call it faster phaser time. Yeah, he says, yeah, they don't go for the price that they used to before.
I can get you better than any they got on the market right now, I promise you. I don't know what this bloke's been telling you, but I promise you, I can get you anything better. And at that point, Whately does his mental shenanigans, and basically what he's trying to do is make him believe Whately with his full, like, he's putting everything into it. This guy can get me exactly what I want, exactly what I need, and better than anybody else on the market can.
Well, presence command, I believe for you is a 14. Your psychology applies. I was going to say your psychology applies. So 4 is your critical range. Remember that you guys are sitting at 5 momentum.
I'm gonna spend. I am gonna spend a momentum for this. And is this 2D or 3D? 3D, right?
3D with a momentum.
3 dice, and your critical number is 4, I believe.
And the target number is 14, correct?
Did we get? Am I in the wrong chat? I'm just not seeing the dice. I mean, you guys tell me if you fail.
I haven't posted it yet. I'm waiting to make sure I have all the numbers right.
Yeah, you have it right. Your target number is 14, your critical range is 4, and you're rolling 3 dice.
Ooh. Well, that was one bad number, but I also spent a momentum.
No complications, so you have 2 successes, which is what you needed. You needed to get 2 successes to convince him that you're genuine, and he says, 2 of you can get me a better weapons control system than something we pulled off of Starfleet. What kind of weapons control system can you get me?
So at this point, the pirate captain puts his arm around Whately and says, says in his slightly Irish voice, "We can get you top of the line Klingon disruptor control interlaced web assembly. This thing can slice a starship into 16 different pieces and then reassemble them in this, just like that. Easy peasy."
The ones with the cutting targeting technology. All right.
Yeah,
and
please don't get you anything you need.
Both of Whately and Dr. O'Connor, because of your empathic abilities, realize that this captain is fooled. He's so fooled, he doesn't want to look bad. So when he says, "Yeah, the ones with the cutting beam targeting technology," no such thing exists. He made it up so that it would sound cool. And he says, "All right, we're going to exchange information, and my cargo is yours." And he gets out. He takes out like a small personal tricorder that's like a little data pad, and he looks to the Ibi pirate captain, Captain Vanar. Sorry, I know his real name. So anyway, and he says,
"You said this wasn't his real name."
I know, right? And he says, "Blink up. The only question is Vakan going to give him real information to get in touch with him or not?"
Well, basically, they've completely BS'd this weapon system.
So probably going to lie.
Whately will come up with something that looks completely real. He knows exactly the software to make it.
It's an information. It's information. It's not like he can we have described it a certain way. We got to fabricate the data for the schematics for it. So that's going to be a little too quick.
He's like, "I'm happy to make the exchange at a later date. This cargo's got to move out of here today. It can't stay." So,
I mean, he can they can upload a schematic, but it's going to obviously be not the right one. So if he's asking,
we don't need. He goes, I realize you're not going to be carrying something that valuable with you, so we'll be in touch later today. And basically you give him a fake phone number, essentially, right? You see the other Orions coming back in from having run to the bathroom, and he goes, "All right, boys, Load up. And he walks on board his little freighter. All of the Orions, a couple of them look a little bit confused by the course of the events, and the Orion freighter lifts up off of the landing pad, and you see it disappear into the sky. And the guy with big ears comes walking over to you, and he goes, "So, does this mean that I'm giving you the cargo? Good enough. Anyway, sign here." He hands you a data pad, and he just holds it out. It doesn't matter who takes it. The rest of you can now be piling into the bay as well. Someone who's going to take the thing and put some fake signature on it.
The baby pirate captain can basically just put his name on there, so he's going to do that.
Right on. And this guy he goes, good, finally, my day is done. Pulls back across the bay. Do they have it loaded up? And the guy says, absolutely, sir. Then let's get out of here. And they, the guard leaves the door, comes walking over with this guy with big ears, and he's got a tan and blue, pretty civilian attire, takes the data pad, and he's like, fine, somebody signed for them. Somebody signed for them. And when you guys go back over to the door and see what was being transported here, find not a crate full of Eppohs. You find a cargo crate, essentially, with a life support unit hooked up to it. And as you open it up and begin to actually get into the crate, hear people going, "What? We haven't been moved yet. What's happening?" And you hear voices, at least a handful of voices. And when you get the crate open, you see what looks like seven. What was the crew of the mining station? It was 7. You see 7 people in 30, well-worn, many weeks old at this point. Their hair is, there are a couple of different races. There's one Vulcan. There are, of the 7, there are 5 men and 2 women. And they're like, oh my, who are you? Not the Orions.
Rick gets a very, very brief, unintentional, Waitley kind of very briefly, split second lose control. And because he's already connected with Rick picks it up. Oh shit.
Okay, by the way, Rick,
and that's it.
With the information that you had got that the Ibi pirate captain had gotten, Duncan, this is where the Eppohs should have been. There's no doubt in your mind.
However, how many Eppohs were taken?
25. I have to take a quick bio break. The quick wind-up here that you guys can talk amongst yourselves is you have just rescued... Damn it, I wanted to roll combat dice. You have just rescued... crew of the mining station that you found abandoned in our second episode when you first got to the Delta Cluster,
my jaw has been hanging this whole time. Oh snap!
When you get back, I think someone.
Right before I go, thanks to Kendra. I haven't looked recently at my private messages, so it's possible she's come up with more, but there's a preview for the first Freelancers game. I'm gonna go pee, rescue the crew of the mining station. It's gonna be kind of like a wind down in denouement, and you're all about to graduate, so I will be right back.
So I'm going to take this advantage to do the same thing. So if anybody has anything to say to me specifically, please put it in text chat.
I mean, I was going to suggest something, but
I'm going to see about the baby, so I'm going to head off for a bit too.
Okay, I'll pause recording then.
Is Baz, you get one more roll. Basically, what happens is over the next couple, you rescued a bunch of miners, and you've already got a course to rendezvous with a freighter that will unload the cargo and be within Federation space for your passengers. What was his name? I've got it written down somewhere.
The pirate captain again?
Rick. The pirate captain. The only question that I have is how does Tardigrade get back from his cadet cruise? Because once this report goes in that you have stopped an Orion, that you basically did the job of stopping an Orion slave smuggling operation and rescued these 7 people. Cole lets everybody know. She tells everyone over the next.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Is everyone actually back before we get started? And are we actually recording?
Oh, I don't know.
Recording.
That's a good question.
I am here.
think everybody's back. I was just running off to pee real quick.
Well, yeah, I mean, but then we had started taking a break, and then we had stopped recording. So just letting you know on that, we're not like
I didn't know.
I didn't go for a smoke. Like, I ran to the bathroom real quick and came right back because,
Kendra's not
yeah, this is big.
Yeah, these
We are
are
recording, so we just keep on going for now.
okay. Cole lets you on. Rick, with your successes and with the number of effects that you got today, she tells you that Command has ordered Reliant back to dock. Not to worry, that no one had done anything wrong. It take about 6. Actually, it's going to take a week from where you are to get back to dock. You no longer have to rendezvous with the civilian freighter to get Captain Rurik and his crew and cargo offloaded, but you do also now have these 7 miners who are also going to be dropped off when you return to Earth Space Dock. And when the Reliant returns to Earth Space Dock, Cole actually congratulates. Don't know if she spent time doing this over the last week to every member of the crew, but she congratulates each and every one of you on an exceptional job. Clinton, you receive notice from certain science divisions that that before graduation you're to be reporting to them with the information on this proto-human culture you found in the Delta Volanus cluster, plus the amazing scans you got of this star that was spreading out and beginning to become a nova. Rick, you managed to get the ship to a cruising velocity of 7, and the Starfleet, you're going to be spending the time between mid to late March and when you graduate in May, so you've got a couple of months, you're going to be at Utopia Planitia actually working on new engines, right? Braves, you've got one meeting that you're going to have in this time, but you're also being put into advanced command training. Not sure why, but for the next month or so, you're being put into an advanced accelerated command training. Kara, you are put into an advanced pilot training program for the next month or so. Dr. O'Connor, your time will be spent with Starfleet Medical Command over the next month or so, dissecting a Borg. You're going to be doing that at Earth with Starfleet Medical Command around you. Chaplain Waitley, the experiment of having the All Faiths Chapel and the counselor be a member of the senior staff of a new ship is considered a success with basically an extent. You basically have to do a lot of interviews with the people who got you the job to tell them how to do the job. And Kendra, you are...
Before we move on, can I point out, it should also be pointed out, Waitley violated one of his values to carry
I-
the mission.
I know, I get it. It's considered a success, and that your first mission your first assignment is going to be being a counselor. And Kendra, you are shockingly put into told, based on the recommendations of Commander Cole, you are also moved into advanced command training for the next couple of months. And you for the next, actually more like a month and a half. And after we see the Reliant setting into space dock again, on all of, and we're beginning to see where our crew... Yeah, what's up, Duncan?
So we did skip some stuff.
Tardigrade. I just realized.
Tardigrade and the pirate captain.
We skipped a lot of stuff.
We kind of jammed out of there real fast.
Yeah.
We are running, getting a bit long
I'm
now.
like, I don't want to keep you guys up
Yeah.
too late, but
I mean, we can just cover some stuff because we just didn't
Sure.
really explain.
let's cover what would the Ibi captain's reaction be, finding out that what you thought was going to be Eppohs was actually a shipment of people.
He's going to be like, his reaction to that is going to be like, oh, well, okay then. He knows Lieutenant Tardigrade is going to be disappointed because he really wanted to rescue the Eppohs, but Lieutenant Tardigrade may take that as a personal mission moving forward. The key things I wanted to cover is basically what's going on with him and getting Lieutenant Tardigrade back on the ship.
I was going to say, my thought was Cole is...
Hold on.
Cole is more than happy to let the Ibi captain go on his way for his help. As
There's
long
more
as,
than that.
I was going to say, as long as he's willing
Hold
to
on.
let Tardigrade come back.
There's more to it than that. So
In what way?
the Ibi pirate captain's name is actually Castus, who's the
He's
second
going to
Ibi.
reveal that.
Yes, I mean, this is like at the hangar bay, end of the mission, because he put in a request for a Starfleet officer to be transported, not a cadet. Castus Rix is the second Ibi in Starfleet. He is a captain in Starfleet. So, yeah. So he is coming back with them on the Reliant.
Awesome. That is... I didn't want to say that he gives himself away. I was like, it's your character.
That was the whole play.
Okay, that's cool.
Anyway, before this happens, just a real quick thing. The one thing that Kara does is, after the cargo is revealed, Kara does saunter up behind, Castus Rick, smacks her hand across his shoulder, and kind of gives him a side hug and says, you done good, CR. You done good today. Next time, I think we'll probably believe you. I'll even put in a good word with Ship Mom.
I honestly
Wait.
don't.
This is a character.
Waitley would give her a very bad side eye at that, but doesn't say anything.
Like, once the cargo is revealed as human, or as people, Eli gets a look of anger, but turns away.
That makes a lot of sense.
So anyway, that's basically the resolution there.
My question was going to be where Tardigrade goes back to space dock with.
Yeah, he just beams board back onto the Reliant once they're all done.
So we're approaching the end here, and all of you have Baz and I talked this week about. I was looking at how does character advancement work in STA, and there are, what are they called, Baz? Arc rewards or arc something?
So there's milestones, the arc milestones in this case.
Yes. Now, normally, and in fact, in this case, I'm looking at the wrong book. In this case, an arc milestone absolutely makes sense. You have finished your cadet cruise and are receiving they're receiving you're going to be receiving your first mission assignments, and you've been working and training in areas you weren't 100% sure of, and before you end up not seeing her again for a while, Marcus receives an invitation. Actually, everyone receives an invitation for 7 o'clock meeting at a club in San Francisco that is not Club 602. It's a music club. You all receive an invitation from Commander Cole. It actually comes from Jordan Cole. Your invitation, Marcus, is for 30 minutes before everyone else arrives. Anyone not going to go?
Just want to say Eli being a bit of a... I don't know how to describe it, but not wanting to be late shows up like an hour early, because that's just how he is.
Hey, Cole is not there, and the club has live musicians, and it's a 4-piece slow jazz band. There is a bar, and there is food.
Well, time to drink and eat.
Okay, you drink and eat, and you see Commander Cole when she arrives, and she says, "Doctor, you're early."
I'm always early.
She gets there probably about 5 minutes before she had sent the time for you to be there, to meet her there. Marcus, when would you arrive?
Pretty punctually, within about 5 minutes.
Okay, she arrives, and as I said, she says, "It's Doc," and you say, "I'm always early," and she goes, "Well, enjoy the meal. I've got to talk to Graves before I see the rest of you. But I just wanted to take I wanted to have some time to say goodbye. You did good work out there in the cluster, Doctor. Proud of yourself."
Q, our drink's on you tonight.
Her next one is, and she goes over to the bartender and orders. She says, "His next drink's on me," and then she goes and finds herself a table that is moderately away from where you are, far enough that quiet talk you wouldn't hear. She seems proud and happy. That is the effect of your empathy. And when you arrive, Marcus, she stands up and she says, "XO," and waves you over.
Graves will just nod and then join her at the table.
I didn't know what you drank, so I didn't order you one. She's got it looks like a beer. It's a pint glass with an amber liquid in it. So I didn't know what you drink, so I didn't order you one.
Marcus punches in an order for an Irish coffee.
Awesome. And it comes out of the wall replicator. He says, "So I wanted to talk to you before I get to say goodbye to everyone else. You good out there in the cluster, all of you. For a bunch of cadets, you ran that ship like a Starfleet ship. A great Starfleet ship. And I just got a piece of advice for you before we have a drink to say goodbye, because I'm back to the Farragut, but am heading off to another ship." And you see that on her, she's got the kind of one of those like bomber. It's like a bomber jacket, but way more casual. And you realize when you get a good look at what she wears when she's casual, she still has her rank on that jacket. because you remember that jacket. It was in her hand when she came onto the bridge the first time. And there's one spot on one pocket where she's got Starfleet Delta, and it used to have three, like, they're not really pips, they're more like three curves next to the Delta. So it looked, you didn't realize it until that now there are 4 pips next to that Delta. She says, I won't be going back to the Farragut, but I am headed to another ship. I think that she just got promoted.
So he just sort of lifts his glass up a little bit and is like, congratulations on...
She
And he
said,
just leaves the question.
you say congratulations and she says, the Texas. I hate the state of Texas, everything I ever heard about it, but so be it. I'm the new captain of the USS Texas. Older model ship, but it'll do.
And he just nods, like, names a name.
She says, so command is going to be giving you a choice here tomorrow when you all receive your assignments. I already know where a lot of you are going. Right back to the Reliant. And it's out of operations command. You're getting the good assignment. You're headed into the exploration command. The operation command these days, you've got to deal with the Klingon war that is going to become a war. They're going to be sent into unexplored space.
Marcus just nods and says, so this cadet cruise has been a training run for effectively how to keep Starfleet operations going, the Starfleet's mission going under evolving political circumstances.
Under evolving political circumstances, and that whole idea of why did they send the best all together, or at least a good number of you showed a lot of potential. There's your reason. You're going to be the captain of that ship, Marcus. It's the first time she said Marcus. Or, like, she always called you Exo. And she says, you're going to be the captain of that ship, Marcus. And command is going to make you pick your first officer. My advice.
Not Lieutenant Tardigrade.
She says, say not Lieutenant Tardigrade, kind of deadpan, and she goes, that wasn't where I was going with it, but yeah, let's add that to the advice too. And she downs the rest of her beer and says, go with someone you know. Go with somebody different than you. And
I'll keep that in mind.
She sees, you see a couple of the other people that are among the list of senior. You see actually Kendra and Quentin arriving at this club. There's slow jazz playing in the background, and she's finished her beer and she says, "Let's get another drink and go say goodbye." And that night ends with a party in a jazz club where indeed Commander Cole does buy a bunch of drinks for everyone. Alcohol too, none of that synthahol crap. And she basically does a whole, I'm sure Kara would be like, oh my gosh, she's really Space Mom, because she really is proud of everyone. Now, you receive a reward going into your graduation. You'll all have to decide what you're going to do, but you receive what I was saying before, which is called a milestone, the ARC milestone, the end of the cadet cruise and your graduation and assignment, because you're all getting your assignments the next day. We can certainly play out a little of what happens at the party, but your ARC milestone operates in this case in this way. You may either add a point to one of your skills, not attributes, and what's the other one? Skills, I think. You may add a point to one of your skill disciplines. Add 1 point to one of your disciplines with a maximum of 5. That discipline has to, I mean, I'm probably going to say yes to any of them, but should make sense with the with your character in some way. Like for Rick Tier, and any of you could choose command. That's the one that anybody could choose, and I wouldn't argue, because advanced command training is good for all of you, because as you receive your assignments the next day, I don't know, because Commander Cole doesn't give it out, unless Marcus gives it out as you all, like, drink and enjoy a night of saying goodbye to Space Mom. She's not going to tell you what your assignments are, but she did tell Graves. So unless Graves says something, most of you are finding out the next day what your assignments are.
Graves isn't going to jump in early on that.
Okay.
When Kara arrives, she actually walks up behind Commander Cole and actually taps her on. Kara is clearly, well, she's not 3 sheets to the wind, but she's at least 1 sheet to the wind already. And she taps, Commander Cole on the shoulder to get her attention and says, "So I guess this is goodbye, huh, Space Mom?"
Eli hearing that just laughs and like drink comes out of his nose. Jameson comes out of his nose. He laughs.
Nice.
Graves goes completely deadpan.
Says, "Space Mom." All right. Space Mom. And hands you a beer. She hands you a drink that she actually picks one up off the table and hands you a beer, and she says, never more than a comma away if you guys need me.
"I'll hold you to that," she says, raising a drink.
It's like, I figure you will. And we get a nice scene of you guys saying goodbye to Commander Cole, who learned has been promoted to captain. She is now going to be Captain Jordan Cole of the USS Texas, which appears in game, which appears in Star Trek Online in mission, the first mission, I think, where you're like, the first Fed mission where you go, or it used to be the second one, you go to the Vulcan monastery and you have to fight off avoid being killed by the Undine ship until your backup arrives. One of that backup in the game is the USS Texas. It looks like an old Excelsior class or something. So that's the ship that Cole is being put in command of, and or you may put a point, as I said, into one of your disciplines. It should make sense with there you go. That's the picture of it. It should make sense with things that have happened, and as you all receive your orders, there is one person who doesn't get their orders right away. All of the rest of you receive orders. Rick Tier, you are being assigned the rank of Lieutenant Junior Grade, and you are being placed as the Chief Engineering Officer of the USS Reliant. Quentin Reynolds, you are being assigned as a Lieutenant Junior Grade, and you are being placed as the Chief Science Officer on board the USS Reliant. Arjunani, you are being assigned the rank of Ensign, and you are being placed as the head of the biology and exobiology department, and have another duty as well, also being the ship's primary pilot. You are not the chief of pilots. You got some motherfuckers to prove wrong, I think. And when Cole will even explain all of your ranks at some point if you guys want. Dr. O'Connor, your official rank is going to be Ensign. you are being placed as the chief medical officer on board the USS Reliant. Captain Waitley, you are being given officially the rank of lieutenant, junior grade, and you are being placed as the ship's counselor on the USS Reliant. And the morning that Quentin receives his orders, there are no orders for Kendra. Marcus, you get your orders. You are being assigned, you and one other graduate of Starfleet Academy, who is the quote-unquote player character of Star Trek Online, are being I'm going to say it may be the first time in Starfleet history that graduates are being assigned the rank of full lieutenant. So Marcus is going to be assigned the rank of full lieutenant and command of the USS Reliant. You will be reporting to Fleet Admiral Marconi on deck 28 of Earth Space Dock. He is your big mission giver, as it were. He is going to be the one who sends you orders, but you are given a choice. There are a number of offices. The first choice is the hard one. You have three. I'm going to send them to you in private messages. You have 3 executive officer recommendations sitting in front of you. Is what you have.
Just a question, just for Marcus. Is he required to pick one of those 3, or?
Yes. Or he could choose like Tardigrade.
We have already
pick one of the 3.
That is a bad idea. Suspense.
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 In Spence, I don't know. In Specs, let's see.
All right, and one more. I hate when I like accidentally click out of the box and think I'm still typing.
Meanwhile, I hate when I misspell my own goddamn name.
No, right?
My name's so easy to spell.
There's a reason I picked a 4-letter, easy-to-pronounce name.
Chabit, I got 3 letters.
Hey,
Oh, I hear
Duncan.
2 letters.
Hey, Duncan.
Going once, going
I just sent you 3 names and brief reason why they are on your desk as a choice, and all you need to do is tell me which one you're going to pick there. And then the other choice that you have that you're going to have to make is not all of the junior officers that served with you during the cadet cruise are necessarily going to be on board the Reliant, who have essentially as a group have a chance to argue for any of them be part of the ongoing mission of the USS Reliant.
Out of character, and this is completely out of character, please do not make rolls. Please do not think this is in character. Waitley executes all of his telepathic ability to convince all of Starfleet Command to keep this ship exactly the way it is.
Doesn't work.
Damn!
Damn!
So, inequity?
let's see. I mean, I've made my decision. It's a pretty easy one.
I figured it would be, but one thing that I always saw was I remember during the first season of TNG, a time when Picard talked about how he had to like decide on who his first officer was going to be. So I wanted to make you have to make that decision too.
Wasn't Riker assigned to him?
No, chose Commander Riker. As far as I know, but I like the dynamic anyway.
No, I like the idea that the captain picks his first officer. I've always liked that idea, but fairly certain TNG, his Riker was assigned to him by Starfleet Command as his first officer. He didn't have it in the first episode.
Sure, but Lieutenant Tardigrade becomes involved in the stowaway process for getting the Oakley back aboard. So, yes, indeed. You remember that you're all getting a point into one of your disciplines. Completely free. That's what they call an arc reward. Normally, there are a couple of kinds of milestones. And normally you have to build like 2 of another milestone in order to get an arc milestone. Because milestones are generally, from what I was reading, related to individual characters. And that means that characters will get their own personal milestones. In this case, it's the end of the story arc of your cadet cruise, which is a huge like moment in all of your lives, and so it gives you an arc. Yeah, Janek Rosso is being assigned anyway and so is that Klingon that doesn't have a name, because in that way it allows any time that Mike or Dragoon would like to hop in and play, we have a seat for them.
Yay. So as far as that goes, I mean, that's kind of the highlights I would put on that list.
Marcus would say that he really liked the job that Larissa did and wants her on board. Understood.
Yeah, so that would be his recommendation for people to stick around, although we could get into XO with the scene.
Okay. Yeah, we certainly could. You are in your, it's morning. It's you guys will be graduating not today, but tomorrow. And it's morning, and here in our last 15 minutes, Marcus, you're looking at the choices, and you've got like basically 3 data pads worth of information on their, on those.
Only 3?
Only 3. And another thing that Marcus Graves has never known before and is suddenly having to come to grips with is the Omega Directive. All Starfleet commanding officers, the day they are given their first command, receive the highly classified, highly detailed briefings on the Omega Directive. So that's something that Graves comes privy to like over the last couple of days. And so you're looking at the 3 people that you have as potential first officers. What do you do?
So he just quickly sort of dials in for a comlink to Elenis Kendra.
The comm goes off in the home of in Kendra.
There was a responding bark from Kara's.
Said yes.
Actually came through.
Okay, just making sure. So Graves open. He looks uneasy. It looks like he's been going through a few things, but he opens the conversation by just basically getting to the points. Basically, it's like, well, I had to make a choice on executive officer, and I've chosen you.
Plug in my headset.
I can't believe she missed that. I can't believe she missed that.
How freaking fitting, though. Come on, how freaking fitting is?
I know, that's hilarious. I can't believe she missed it because she was like, plug in my headset. All right, so you might have to say it again.
No, this is all completely like this is how the scene's playing out.
Yeah.
So Marcus, he gets on the line again, or waits and just says, Elenis, I've chosen you for executive officer. We are on a exploration cruise, but to keep the ship safe in unknown circumstances, I would really appreciate your insight as chief security officer.
I'm honored.
And also ability to manage a small little tardigrade who may get us into substantial trouble.
Indeed.
And he basically just sort of takes a lean back, and he's internally grappling with sort of the mega directive and wondering like how much of a lead-in he do, and he effectively decides to basically just skip it and says, we'll be graduating tomorrow. After that, we're technically free to get started. So if you have any recommendations for ship operations, personnel, or security arrangements, just send them on by. I'll take a look at them as soon as I can.
Will do, sir.
Alrighty then. Well, I don't want to keep you this morning, so again, if you have any questions, just go ahead and send me a line. And I look forward to this adventure.
You look like you have something on your mind. Is there anything you wanted to talk about before you go?
Yeah, nothing I can talk about, but if it does come up during our mission, I'll certainly keep you apprised of the situation as best I can.
Understood.
And the next day is a kind of a really amazing graduation ceremony. There are two officers, the player character, who it's the story of the player character who are honored, and Marcus, who are the potentially, I don't know, it may have happened in the past, but they are they're graduating at the rank of full lieutenant and being given command of a starship. Who are basically given, all of you receive honors on your graduation as part of your diploma or whatever Starfleet hands out, as you're recorded as having honors on your graduation, specifically from your cadet crews. All of you, your last chance to say goodbye to Captain Cole. She brought the Texas back around for your graduation so that she could be there, and you get your last chance to say goodbye. That's when she definitely accepts and probably even gives Kara a hug herself. You are, when you step back onto the Reliant, kind of the end of the episode, right, so like timing actually worked out. I'm happy. At the next time that you all probably go on board at different times over the course of the next couple of days following graduation. The official launch isn't going to have a huge ceremony. You're going to receive that your mission is quite a distance away. You don't actually have to meet with Admiral Marconi, though you receive orders from his office. You are welcome to meet with him before the ship launches. That would be next time. The mission that the Reliant is being assigned is there is a space they call what many call galactic south of the Klingon Federation neutral zone. It is, for the most part, completely unexplored space. There may be Klingon colonies or, protectorates down there, but for the most part, you're being assigned boldly go to explore strange new worlds, discover new life and new civilization. That is your mission is that, and you are being assigned to an area of space that the closest that you can and probably will make a resupply stop at Federation Station K7. I think that's the name of it, right? In the neutral zone. And then further from there into the area that is mostly unexplored space, right at the edge of where Federation ships where Federation ships protect, is a very old station. It used to just be a deep space monitoring station, and these days it serves as both a deep space monitoring station and a very small operational space station known as Epsilon 10. Anybody who knows their Star Trek history will know that Epsilon 9 was destroyed by the V'ger probe in Star Trek The Motion Picture. This is built in the same place. It is Epsilon X. Some people call it, you'll find out. But that is going to be your effective base of operations if you need anything related to like ship resupply and things like that. That is the last Federation outpost for the Great Unknown, and that's where you're all being assigned. Larissa, you find out, is assigned as Chief Tactical and Security Officer. Tardigrade is assigned to the Reliant because Command doesn't trust anyone besides Graves to be able to keep him under control. He did manage to pass all of his courses, so he is effectively an ensign now. Who will be, he can receive promotions, but for now he's Ensign Tardigrade. John T. Tardigrade? He's assigned. He is assigned. Larissa is assigned. Looking at the sheet of characters, Vathi, I can't pronounce her last name, the character that Kendra and Kara came up with during their role play, during the time that you're all back on Earth, she gives you that hollow tour of Andoria, but she is assigned elsewhere. Erica Bond, the very effective physician's assistant, is assigned elsewhere. The doctor, the Bolian doctor, who is really basically as good of a doctor as you, Dr. O'Connor, he is assigned elsewhere. He's assigned to the operations command. And as far as I can tell, the Tellarite engineering bridge officer. She worked on the bridge. You saw her very briefly, kind of grumpy. She never got a name, and therefore she does not get assigned to the Reliant. Trying to think of any other NPCs that might. In my mind, I'm trying to think who.
Second drive.
So, just a quick interjection. So, did we mention Larissa?
Yes, she is your new chief of security.
Okay, thumbs up.
I like the fact that your chief of security is is an NPC and also is a Zindi reptilian. That's awesome. I love how that happens.